Warning, the Stone Age Gamer includes a lot of bad language. Cover your mother ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer Podcast. I'm Chris Randazzo and joining me tonight is paraplegic stripper Dan Ryan.
It's so much worse. It's so much worse. Anyway, it's fine. It's a joke even I won't tell on the podcast.
Contact Dan individually and he will tell you in person. Oh,
right.
boy.
Call me. Call
so
our
we were
hotline.
Call 1-800-SHIT-JOKES.
It's too many numbers.
Well, they used to do that sometimes. Remember, they'd be like, "Here's a whole thing," but really the 7 numbers were the ones that were the actual thing.
1-800 hot sexy babes in your area now. Like, run, no, I'm not dialing all that.
You just keep dialing all the numbers, but it stopped listening to you after the first 7. Goodness gracious me. So E3 is officially dead. I know we were going to talk about our end of year recap this week, but I've been sick as a dog. So we decided to go with something a little bit easier. So we're going to eulogize E3. What were your favorite memories of the Electronic Entertainment Expo? Calm down, Jeff Keighley, because the Stone Age Gamer Podcast starts now.
Keep it in your pants, Jeff.
Keep it in your pants, Keeley. Hi, everyone. This is episode 494 of the Stone Age Gamer Podcast.
I bet you that was his nickname in high school. Keep it in your pants, Keeley.
Keep it in your pants, Keeley. It's the week of December 22nd, 2023. We're running out of 2023.
It's almost Christmas, though, Chris.
It is. It is almost Christmas. 'Tis the season to be merry. That's my name. No shit.
No shit.
1-800-SHTJOKS. Thank you, Evan.
The joke.
Love it.
Jokes.
Oh boy.
I do have one for you though, Chris. This one.
Okay, go for it.
All right. What's better than roses on your piano?
Daisies in your trumpet. I don't know.
Tulips on your organ. That's a good one. It takes a second, it clicks, and then you're like, dirty. It's funny.
That's not bad.
It's bigger than a regular hat. It's funny. Yeah, it's been one of those weeks, Chris. Man,
yeah,
I don't know about you. I know you haven't been feeling good.
I actually called out of work. That's not something I ever do.
Because you work from home.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that in a shitty way. It was so bad that you couldn't. Yeah,
and sit in front of my computer and clear some tickets or something like that. I could not even do that. I knocked out a few things in the morning, did the social media, and I was like, I can't today. I have to just sit on my ass and not do anything. And I was fucking miserable all day long.
And then you watched The Matrix.
The Matrix.
And it got better.
I watched The Matrix Resurrections, and I mean, it wasn't bad. And
it's not bad, but I hate it. But I don't hate it.
To exist.
But it kind of sucks.
It doesn't add anything.
No,
except the extraordinarily amusing, meta nature of the whole thing. Of we're making this sequel to The Matrix, but we finished telling the story, but somebody wants us to make the sequel to The Matrix, so we're going to do it. And I was entertained by it, but holy shit, that movie was long. It felt
it is long.
It was wow, this just keeps on going, and it should have either been 2 movies.
It keeps on going.
Right?
It's just here.
I'm not sure what story it was trying to tell. It was not, that dude that they got to play Smith, the new flavor of Smith. He's not Hugo Weaving. No. He was entertaining, I suppose, but a lot of those original parts were awesome because of who was playing them, you know? It's Hugo Weaving was just so much fun to watch. Even when the movies were shit, it was still like, well, this is bad, but I don't really care because it's Hugo Weaving punching Keanu Reeves, and that's awesome.
Because Hugo Weaving is pronouncing every fucking letter and maybe a couple extra ones in Inevitability.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's a delight.
The new Morpheus was okay.
But he's not like Larry Fishburne. That's what I call him.
But he also wasn't. But he also wasn't Morpheus. That was the thing that confused me. Like, how is that? What is this? Like young Morpheus? Oh no, he's like computer program Morpheus.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was weird. It was a strange movie that really didn't need to exist.
You really should have watched The Flash.
Yeah, I'm
had just
options.
So damn curious as to your opinion on that movie, because, man, did I want to hate that movie, and I really liked it.
I know you did.
And that's weird to me. I actively, every part of me was like, fuck this movie. God damn it, Ezra Miller's a twat, and like the rest of this shit, and god damn it, and the Batgirl thing, and like all the rumors and hullabaloo. So, and then I watched the movie and I was like, fuck, man, it's pretty good for what it is. Like, it's not great, but even the stupid shit at the end, that where you thought I was going to be furious, I wasn't. I loved it. I was like, yes, more of that.
I love resurrecting actors without their permission.
I don't fucking care.
We own their digital likeness. Look at this nostalgia in balls floating around the screen.
I do have to be honest, though. Like, on the scale of things that I care about, whether or not millionaires' families get paid by billionaires is just not one of the things I give a shit about. I know I probably should.
And more concerned with the fact that they were people. Like, it's not the pay thing. It's like, these were humans, and you're, like, trotting their corpses out. Fucking Nick Cage did... Even Nick Cage wasn't happy with that. And Nick Cage is happy with just about everything. He was just like, I didn't do that.
Dead by Daylight or whatever the fuck that fucking game is. Because he's in there for some reason. Yeah, no.
And he was like, I didn't do that. I didn't... That's me up there doing things on the screen, but I didn't do those things. And it's like, yeah, you're pissing off Nicolas Cage with your shittiness right now.
I know.
You have you've gone so far beyond the bottom of the barrel of desperation.
But like, then I watch the news and I go, yeah, I just don't care. I can't bring myself to give a shit. Sorry. Maybe I should. But it's like actual shit to be upset about. You know.
I can care about multiple things.
I can't. That's where I'm getting to, Chris. I'm going to care about one thing. That's it. It's too much.
And even that's too much, really.
Even that's too much. Yeah.
It's crossing a line.
The one thing is too much. Crazy. Ridiculous. Absurd. Churlish. All of those adjectives. Well, I'm sorry you're not feeling 100% better.
Well, I am feeling much better today. I was destroyed yesterday. Today, I actually did some things. I broke through the writer's block that I had been having. So it's been a little while since I posted the first episode of the Mario Archaeology series. And I feel like I'm in pretty good shape for every episode past this. And the first episode, I think, came together really nicely. But this episode, I've just been struggling with because there's so much to say.
Right.
And I didn't really know how to get to the point. I didn't even know where to begin because it's telling the story of Super Mario Brothers. I'm on the episode where I'm doing Super Mario Brothers through Super Mario Brothers 2. So the games I'm working with
pretty tiny, not important games.
Right. I'm doing Super Mario Brothers versus Wrecking Crew, the Super Mario Brothers Game & Watch, Super Mario Brothers Special I'm just touching on, same with Super Mario Brothers. Then there's Super Mario Brothers 2, aka The Lost Levels, and then what we got is Super Mario Brothers 2. Now, I'm telling this story from the perspective of North American audience, which for Zelda was pretty straightforward. But with Super Mario Brothers, it's actually not straightforward at all, especially because the release date for that game is so nebulous. So trying to find a way to write it vaguely enough that I don't need to pin down an exact release date and not be, telling anything inaccurate, just like giving a basic idea of it, but also being precise enough to point out the importance of the different dates. That was really hard for me to figure out where to even begin tackling it and how much...
Where's that line? Yeah.
How much of the history of, like, its release on Famicom do I go into? And, like, the Famicom disk system. Like, all these different things were really important to illustrating why that game was as important as it was, but none of that stuff meant a shit bit of difference to anyone in America because we didn't know what was going on. It was all what was happening in America was that in 1985, right? The theoretical release date is October 1985. Was the
launch of
the NES's launch, the limited release? I think in New York and I want to say
Los Angeles.
It's not Dave and Buster's. It's what's
FAO Schwartz, right?
FAO Schwartz, yeah. So like,
fuck, do I know that? And you don't. You must be sick. Jesus.
I know it. It's just like I kept thinking of Dave and Buster's for some reason. Like that's not it. What the hell's wrong with you?
No.
So like, from 1983 through 85, that was the crash here in America. So like, there really wasn't much going on in video games, especially in home consoles, the home console space. So like, I wrote it as in, all right, here's a quick look at what was happening in Japan and why this game was important there, and then transition to they wanted to bring this over to America, but here's why they couldn't, and then into the whole, like, tricking retailers into, like, buy our entertainment system with Rob the Robot, which is just...
Right, it's a toy!
It's a trick to get sneak Super Mario Brothers into homes where kids would play that and be like, oh shit, this is amazing, and then going on from there. And then, of course, I'm really, like, I wrote down a couple of notes, like, all right, now just talk about the game for a little bit. And then I really wanted to get to the exciting part, which was talking about Mario Brothers 2, because I'm so excited to talk about Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah.
Because, the Super Mario, the Doki Doki Panic story that's been told to death. But, like, I love the notion that Super Mario Brothers, like, in America, Super Mario Brothers had this totally different trajectory because, like, it basically launched the NES, and then we got all these other more impressive games, like, super quick. And, like, okay, so now we've played The Legend of Zelda, we've played Castlevania, we've played Metroid, we've played Kid Icarus. I'm like, what's Super Mario Brothers 2 going to be like? Because there's got to be a Mario 2, right? What's it going to be like? I can't wait. And then, like, no, Super Mario Brothers 2 actually already exists in Japan, and it is absolutely nothing that game needs to be. Because Mario 2 needed to be this big, like, bombastic follow-up that expanded the world and incorporated all the capabilities that the NES was now capable of that the first game wasn't. And, like, Super Mario Brothers 2 in Japan is just, like, a fucking discount level pack for Super Mario 1. I do not like that game at all. It's uglier than the first game. It's still ratchet scrolling. You can't walk backwards. It's brutally challenging in super unfair ways. It's got a couple of clever things added, but it's just like, it's like a little expanded level pack for Super Mario Brothers instead of, like, Mario 3 was the first proper sequel to Super Mario Brothers in Japan anyway. And I think Super Mario Brothers 2, aka like our Super Mario Brothers 2, is a great follow-up to Super Mario Brothers because of how weird it is, but it still feels like a Mario game. I know people love saying it doesn't, but I think that's bullshit. I
disagree entirely. It feels as much a Mario game as fucking any... Nerds make me fucking tired.
Like, you can't jump on enemies to kill them? Well, you couldn't jump on enemies to do that in Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers was the only one that let you do that to this point, so heck off with that nonsense. But
it's just
regardless,
silly.
I broke through my writer's block, and I wrote a whole shitload of stuff, so I feel like I'm going to have this script ready for not next week, but the week after. I think it's I don't think I'm going to get it done before Christmas, because, the editing process on these is pretty difficult, but I'm not dealing with anything all that substantial. Like Super Mario, none of the games that I'm talking about are super long, so it's not that hard to find the footage that I need. But at the same time, it is.
But still, it's work.
It is work, and I tend to edit these things pretty meticulously. So anyway, I'm hoping, I'm glad that I finally found time to make some progress on it. And the other thing I'm working on that I'm kind of disappointed, I was planning on having my Atari 2600 Plus video up on Monday. I put a lot of work into that. I think I talked about that last week, where
yeah.
I had gotten it and I had tested all the different things in it. I came up with some other things I wanted to try, and so I needed to get those other products in. And I got some of them in. I haven't had a chance to test them yet because I was not camera ready today. But it's my understanding that the 7800 Plus, which is the Mega 7800. The 7800 game drive from Retro HQ is a flash cart for the Atari 7800, and he made this extra adapter called the Mega 7800, which plugs into your Atari 7800 and allows you to use Sega Genesis controllers on the Atari 7800, but also it lets you do the it has like special buttons and stuff for all of the different things that you can do that work specifically with that flash card, which is pretty cool. It's my understanding that if you use a Mega 7800 in the 2600 Plus, you can use Genesis controllers on the 2600 Plus, which is pretty awesome. Hold on one second. I was doing the silly gambling thing, and I wasn't paying attention because it's not supposed to pop until 10 o'clock, and it's 9:48, and it popped early, and it was $38. Damn, and I missed it. I missed it by seconds. I hate you.
That sucks.
That's what I get for talking about Atari stuff. Curse words. Anyways, back to the podcast. So I got that in, and I'm looking forward to testing that to see if it actually works out for me. But the other thing I wanted to get in that we had sold out of, we just started carrying 1-Up Card at Stone Age Gamer, which is their cleaning kits, or like modern cleaning kits and stuff. They have these like specific cards for like they call them 1-Up Card because they're like credit card size things that you use to clean the cartridges. But they also just released recently a whole mess of cartridges for cleaning out systems. And since I was having so much trouble getting games to work properly in the 2600 Plus, I thought, well, this would be a great opportunity to show off these things on video. So I contacted Andy and was like, hey, could really use the 2600 cleaning kit to show off in this video. I think that would be a good opportunity because the Atari stuff tends to do pretty well for me. So we were sold out of that one now. That was the first one we actually had sold out of, was the 2600 cart, which was pretty cool. Right. It makes me happy that stuff is selling. So I contacted 1-Up Card directly, and he sent me out one, but it's not going to get here until Monday. So sadly, I have to wait to finish the video because I really don't want to publish the video until I've done that, because I feel like that's actually going to help with the games. Because I'm pretty sure, having spent more time with this system, that the problem is that my games are just filthy, and this will be able to read them better once I clean them. Which, again, they work just fine on original hardware. This one seems to be a bit more finicky, but, it's not going to hurt to clean my games. So let's just go ahead and take care of that business and see if it all works out for me. So I'm almost done with this 2600 Plus video. It's going to go up next week, and I'm really excited about it because I've had so much fun with this stupid thing. I got it set up on the shelf. The other thing I haven't tested yet is daisy chaining Genesis extension cables. One Genesis extension cable works fine, but it's not quite enough to get me to my couch. So I had them send me a second one. So I'm going to daisy chain them and see if that still works, so I can just sit all the way back on my couch and play one game at a time and, get up and switch cartridges whenever I want to switch games. So that should be fun.
All right, then.
I mean, I can't imagine it's not going to work, right? They're just extension cables. They're just pass-throughs. But then again, why the hell does the Master System controller work and the Genesis one doesn't? So, what do I know? I'm hopeful. I've got my fingers crossed that it's going to work out nicely for me.
Well, I will cross my fingers and toes, so that it all works out.
Word. So what have you been up to? I have other games to talk about, but you talk for a minute.
Oh, not too much. I picked up. Well, I told you I got the Portal collection on Switch and played through the first Portal. So we're working our way through Portal 2, which, man, just, I know I said it last week, but it's a really good game.
It never stops being good. It's as good today
really
as it was when it came out. It's fucking flawless.
And it's just so clever and so well written and acted, and just fucking chef's kiss. Really fucking good. I also picked up on Switch because it was on sale for, I think it's still on sale for $7.50. The Katamari Damacy reroll.
Oh yes,
the HD remaster or whatever.
Yes.
It's on sale for $7.50 right now.
The first
Switch.
one or the second one?
The first one, yeah, not Reverie. The first one.
No, we love Katamari, just right, Katamari Damacy. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So I've been playing through that a bunch. It's just such.
That's another game that hasn't aged a day. That game is as good now as it was when it released.
It is. It really is. It's just this wonderful little charming fucking thing with incredible music, and god damn it, I just love that game. It's so fucking good. It's just so good. And then we played through a little bit more of Jedi. We've kind of fallen off of that a little bit just because of like work and life and things getting in the way and having this dog here. And last weekend was just, oh man, what a fucking ordeal. It was just
that's where I am with Horizon Chase 2. Like,
yeah,
I just don't have the concentration for it right now. I simply do not.
Yeah, I can jump in and play like a stage of Portal because I have 20 minutes before I have to go to bed and Tiff and I will figure out a puzzle. Or I can jump in and for 15 minutes I can make a 30 centimeter fucking Katamari or whatever, or try to roll up some bears. Like that's about or baseball. I've been playing a bunch of the show this week, mostly because my interest in baseball has been thoroughly rekindled, because the Yankees traded for Juan Soto, and I fucking love that guy, and I'm really fucking excited about it, and that's amazing. So Juan Soto's a Yankee.
When do new show games come out?
Usually at the end of March, beginning of April-ish.
So my nephew, he loves baseball, and he hasn't asked for the show, but he was playing baseball, and he recently told his mom that he didn't want to play baseball anymore because he gets a lot of anxiety from being at bat. So I thought it would be a really cool thing I thought it would be a really cool thing to get him MLB The Show 23 on Switch. Which unfortunately is sold out in a lot of places right now, which sucks. Best Buy had it for $40 and it's gone. But I think I can get it for. I'm just going to see if I can get him the digital copy. Regardless, is that a good plan? Like it's cross platform play, and I know he has other friends who have PlayStation 5s.
Right.
So he could play with them online, which was his whole thing. He talked his mom into getting him a PS5, which he had for like a week, then threw in a backpack to bring to his dad's house, dropped the backpack, and the PS5 stopped working. So he had it for like a fucking week, and it was done. Like I tried turning it on, like when the next time I went up there, like, could you take a look at it and see if you could get it to work? And I was like, well, it power cycles kinda, but it's done. Like I can't even get a picture out of it. I don't know what it is, but it's fucking toast. This system is not portable. You do not throw a PS5 in a backpack to bring it to your dad's. You just don't do that.
No. Certainly not just like a regular backpack.
Yeah, no.
Put that shit in like a Marcellus Wallace briefcase.
He's John's age, and like he
Oh, that's so much worse. If he was like 15. That's
No. He is John's age. He just turned 10. Like, he's this is a bad plan, and I'm pretty sure his mom told him not to, and he just kind of went for it anyway.
Of course, because he's a fucking kid.
You just you hate to see it, but also like talk about lesson learned. So he's been trying to talk his mom into buying him another one. She's like, "The fuck, I am."
I mean, if anything,
it's like, I'm not going to do it again. Like, I know you're not going to do it again. I'm not going to fucking let you.
Because you're not going to have one. A fucking a Series S and Games Pass would be just fine because the show is on Games Pass.
But he doesn't want an Xbox. His friends have plays. See, he goes to this school where his quote-unquote friends are very into status. So, like, he went to school one day in a Steelers jersey, and they started making fun of him because it wasn't the right brand of Steelers jersey. And
it wasn't a fucking official, authentic, whatever.
It was like an officially licensed jersey, but it wasn't like the official ones that they wear or something. And like, he has to have the right brand of shoes and stuff. And I'm like, you need to stay the fuck away from these kids. Because
you need different friends at 10 years old if that's what you're worried about.
Fuck,
man.
This is gross and I hate it, but it's not my kid. All I can do is give him the best advice I can.
I was talking about it with Tiff the other day. And just off topic here for a second, but I don't know that there is anything in my life that I will be more grateful for than the fact that I did not go through school with a cell phone and social media.
Oh my God. I couldn't agree more. That shit's terrifying.
It's just the fucking drizzling shits. It's the worst fucking thing. And like it's wonderful and it has the capacity for good and all of those things, but it is just a vicious hellscape. And the girls tell me all the time about kids who got busted fucking shooting TikToks in the fucking bathroom and like taking pictures in the middle of class and like their teachers are in it and all this shit. And like, oh my God, because I would have been a fucking dick about it. Because like, I think it's pretty accurate, Chris, right? I'm one of the nicer people that you know. I don't know that I'm the nicest person you know, but I'm up there of like one of the nicer people that you know, I think.
Most people I know don't save 200 some odd dogs in a year. So.
I'm a genuinely pretty good dude, but I'm also kind of a bully. Like, I know that about myself. I don't mean to be. You know, but like I've been mean in my life. I try not to be anymore, but I know that I have been, and I can be a dick about shit when I think I'm right, which is always. So you know, like I think about how I would have been and knowing myself as a teenager, like with a fucking, I would have been just a nightmare. Because at 10 years old, because that's where it comes from. There's no way at 10 years old you should give a flying fuck about, like, God, that's just... because we certainly had, and I'm sure you did too, Chris, like, you don't... kids who wore, like, the shoes from... like the local department store versus like Nikes, you know, like that was me. I got made fun of for that stuff. You wore like you had your James Way shoes or Kmart or whatever the fuck it was.
I got British Knights like way after everyone else did, and they're like, "You wearing your Burger King shoes
cool anymore?"
Like I thought this was the shoes I was supposed to wear, and I'm wearing like fucking Skids pants and. Oh, I'm like 3 months too late. Like, what? God damn it, back to my sweatpants. Fuck it all.
God damn it, nobody told me. But like,
how are you supposed to keep up with that stuff? There was no internet to follow.
I know. But even then, like, you had the fucking, like, the James Way shoes or the Kmart shoes or Clover or Bradley's or whatever the fucking stores were around
Clover,
here.
yes.
When we were
all
kids.
those stores, yeah, all those.
Yeah,
all those
like
stores.
all of like the Walmart of their day. But like you still like it was still cool if you had like Fila's or Nikes or Reeboks or X or Y or Z. Like it wasn't just the one. And there's so much of like a centralization now around influencers and the one particular thing. Like when I took off Friday last week to take the dog to the vet. I dropped the kids off at school in the morning and watching all these like 7th and 8th graders, like they're all walking up like with Prime water bottles. And I'm like, no, what are you doing? Why do you all have the same fucking one? Like there's a huge variety of overhyped fucking bullshit water out there, but that's the one. That's the one that you have right now. It's just short story long. It's fucking weird. Internet is a terrible place. However,
kids have to. They love the Mr. Beast bars.
Why?
Isn't this the best chocolate you've ever had? No. It just tastes like a
guaranteed.
He was like, you got to try this. It's the best chocolate there is. And I'm like, okay, it tastes all right. Why do you say this is the best chocolate there is? Oh, because Mr. Beast said it was. Like, oh, well.
Oh.
In that case, no. Still no.
It's interesting.
Perfectly fine chocolate.
Yeah.
Now you've got my kids saying D's nuts. Thanks, Mr. Beast.
I mean, that's just funny, but that's not okay, but it's kind of okay. It's just the consolidation of what is acceptable and the movement of that to younger and younger children is fucking troubling. I don't care for it. I don't like it at all.
No, sir.
Because I
don't like it.
No, like we were having a conversation with the kids, about like certain clothes and whatever. Because on one side of the coin, I'm like, fucking do you. You go out there and kick ass and be your weird self and do whatever you're going to do and be your own person and let your freak flag fly and all of that good stuff. But also at the same token, like, no, I'm not going to buy you that because it's going to get you made fun of. Like I'm trying to tell you to be yourself, but also trying to protect you because I know because I was that kid that would have made fun of you for it, And like, I fucking hate that about myself.
But like, don't go too far. Like,
yeah,
there were definitely times. It does, but it doesn't, because like there are certain aspects of certain personalities that are not just to be going to make people make fun of you, but like maybe even part of why people would make fun of you is because something you're doing is making other people around you uncomfortable, or like. It's maybe something that is an aspect of your... Because I used to get made fun of all the time. Big surprise. But, like, I would act certain ways that were disruptive. And, like, it was part of why I wound up getting bullied. Like, I shouldn't have been bullied in the first place. But there's also a small part of it that is... If I had learned to be a version of myself that was also... more socially acceptable, you know what I mean? Like, it's finding ways to be yourself and still feel that you're being genuine to yourself, but also not in ways that are going to alienate you from people that you might actually like. Not just the shitheads that are going to make fun of you, but also like,
right.
I can better myself so that I can be friends with the people I want to be friends with, and then be a version of myself that is the best version of myself that I can come up with, if I'm making any kinds of sense. Like, I'm not saying change yourself to be cool, but also like sometimes like, maybe you're leaning a little bit too hard into this one aspect of your personality and it's not good for you, just like it isn't good for... Yeah, just pull it back a little bit, Maybe
you fucking nerd.
Maybe save the complete insanity for once people get to know you a little better,
Or find other people who are as insane about that particular thing. I remember one day I went to school. I was in I was in 8th grade. It was after my dad had died, and at that point, I could not have given a shit less about what anyone thought. And like, for as tragic and awful as it was, you know, my dad passing and all of that, it did do wonders for my self-confidence and my lack of giving a shit about anyone else. And it was the last time anybody ever tried, like, and it wasn't even, it just, I could get away with whatever the fuck I wanted to get away with. I remember I went to school one day and I had on a pair, because I thought it would be funny. I had on a pair of bright, and when I say bright, I mean like not neon bright, but like just fucking this side of the road of neon. Purple jorts. They were carpenter jorts that I thought were just hilarious. Argyle socks that did not match, pulled all the way up. I don't remember, like, sneakers, sandals, it doesn't matter. A t-shirt that I bought because I also thought it was hilarious. It was a black t-shirt, and the entire front of the t-shirt was like a hyper-realistic, heavily printed, like, you know those types of t-shirts that have like the very thick ink on them that like kind of crackle over time? Very heavily printed fucking lion, like with his full fucking mane and shit, with like a space motif in the background, and a barbecue apron that I would wear frequently to school because it was very convenient to keep a little notebook and my pencils in. But it was a barbecue apron that was the male equivalent on the fucking American Gothic, like that style. Like, it had like a farmer's almanac, like, and all this shit printed on it, like some fucking weird hick thing. I just remember walking around school like that, and some kid being like, "What the fuck are you wearing?" Like one of the quote unquote cool kids. Like, what the fuck are you wearing? And me looking back at him and being like, "Fuck you." And which was my response at the time. And I had the confidence, and everybody was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I suppose, fuck him." And like, and that was the end of it. Like, nothing was ever said about it again. And it was a ridiculous thing to be wearing. Whereas other kids, just for wearing a pair of shoes, should be able to look at the person who's like, "What the fuck are those?" You know, like, "What are those?" Do you remember that a couple years ago? Yeah. What are those? They're fucking shoes. Fuck off. And like, that should be the... Yeah, like, but there's a certain level of confidence or a lack of giving a shit that most people don't have. So we got to go to what you were just saying of like, maybe pull it back a little bit. Don't wear the bright purple jorts. Wear the dark purple jorts. It won't stick out as much. Yeah, it's fucking weird. Anyway, this is a really long tangent. All of that is to say, Chris, it's fine if he gets the show.
Cool. Yeah. I think I'm gonna follow through with that.
Yeah, like it's totally fine. He will get a bunch of really good cards if he plays the Diamond Dynasty for like a week. If he just plays through some of the different modes, he'll get a bunch of really good cards. He's probably going to get his ass handed to him online because the Switch just does not play as well online as the PlayStation or Xbox does.
Right.
It just doesn't, for whatever reason. I don't know the technical specifications behind all of that, but it just doesn't play as well.
Yeah, I don't even know that that's going to be a huge thing for him. I don't know how much he's actually going to play with his friends online. I think he'll just think it's neat that he has the option to.
Well, and what's
I think
really
he'll probably
cool
wind up
about
playing it by himself
is that, like, he will be able to go on, like, on Christmas Day, he opens it up, he can plug it into his Switch, jump online, and download a user-created roster that has all of the trades that have been made up to, you know, Christmas Day or whatever. So Juan Soto will be a Yankee, Alex Verdugo, the fucking cunt will be. Yeah, he was a Red Sox, so I hate him, but now I have to like him because now he's a Yankee. But he's also, there's like some weird kid shit in his past, so maybe fuck him still. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
Shohei Ohtani will be a Dodger. You know, like all people will make those rosters so that if you're getting the game at Christmas, you can still play with an accurate roster to whatever is in the coming season.
Right, and he
So
knows
he's fine.
that shit. He is a Yankees fan, so you would approve.
Okay.
And
Good.
I'm pretty
Yes.
sure he knows all that stuff too.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
There's a chance. Like really the only thing, and if he is a Yankees fan, like I don't know how quickly Yoshinobu Yamamoto will be added to the game if he signs with the Yankees, whoever the fuck he signs with. He's a pitcher coming over from Japan. That sometimes takes a little bit longer because the people who make for a really good version to come out, like somebody will be like, I made fucking Yoshinobu Yamamoto like that day, you know. But it's it sometimes might take a minute for like accurate imported international players to come in, but still, like it'll all be there.
Cool.
So anyway. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. Also, fucking Marvel Snap. I said a couple weeks ago that Rumblements and I have been like saying like I'm just gonna open every fucking spotlight I get. The last new card I got with a spotlight key, for those of you keeping track, was September 14th. It is now the day we record this, December 15th. So that's 3 months? No, 2 months? Yeah. September to October to 3 months, 3 fucking months, Chris, without opening a new card out of a thing. And I was like, yeah, I just can't. There's a card coming out this week. The Blob was added to the game, and he's a really strong card. And I was like, fuck it. All right, I'll save up. I'll save up keys. So again, if you forgot, there are 4 possible outcomes. Each week, there is the possibility of a random Series 4 or 5 card that you don't have, or a duplicate of a Series 4 or 5 card that you do have. If you pull that, you get 1,000 collector's tokens. And then there are 3 cards. Those 3 cards are different every week. One of them is a brand new card that has just been added to the game, and then there's 2 other cards that are Series 4 or 5 definitive, right? Okay. You know what those are going to be. And if you have them already, there are pretty cool variants most of the time. Some of the variants have been kind of shit. But like for the most part, they're kind of cool variants where if you're like, all right, I was chasing the one card and I got these 2 variants along the way. Okay, whatever. So I have been opening since September 14th. I have not saved any fucking keys at all. I've just been opening, and I have not pulled any new cards. It's just been either variants or cards that I already had. So this week, with Blob coming out, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to save. And if I budget, like if I do this correctly, I will have 3 keys to open for Blob. I got to get them out of 3, right? I know it's not guaranteed because there's 4 options, but if I haven't gotten a new card in 3, and I got 3 fucking keys, and you know what happened. You know exactly what happened. I didn't get fucking Blob. And I sent a picture, I sent a message to Rumplemans today. We were talking on our Snapchat thing, which you all should be playing Snap. It's a very fun game. Join us in the Discord. It's fun. There's good conversation. But I was like, I think this is somehow worse. Because not only have I not opened up a new card since September 14th, I put 3 fucking cracks at it this time, and I still didn't fucking get it. God damn it. It's like, you know, this really fucking sucks. I'm really unhappy about it. Because I really like this game. It's really fun. This part is so fucking frustrating. And it's just so absurd at this point. I don't know what the fucking probability is, but it's got to be really fucking low for that to be the case. I would imagine. I don't know. Maybe I'm totally off, but
maybe it's just really low for you.
Maybe it's really low for me because
maybe
did
it just
get
doesn't
the third.
like you. Maybe is one of the kids that you made fun of in school.
It very well might be. Oh, is it Edmund? Oh, it might be Edmund. Oh, that fucking kid. No. Edmund, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I'm not. No, fuck you. But maybe I am.
Let me get some cards, please.
God damn it, Edmund. Give me fucking plop. You prick. I take back some of the things that I said. Not all of them. Some were deserved. Yeah, I don't know. It's fucking wild, man. It's a weird thing because it's such a fun game, and they're like, I love the game cycle. I love all the different stuff that they're doing. It's really fucking solid and really, really fun. But yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating. I got there's a new collab in Puzzle and Dragons. Dengeki Bunko. I don't fucking know. I don't know who any of these characters are. Don't know at all, but I know which ones I should have gone after, and I fucking rolled some of them, and I was super happy about it. And I got there was a Chainsaw Man collab in Japan, and I got fucking Chainsaw Man. And that's fun because that anime is. I've never watched it, but it's wild as shit looking, so I'm into it. I'm like, whatever. This dude turns into a guy with a chainsaw coming out of his face. That is right up my alley. Sold. I'm not gonna watch it, but I am gonna use his card. Fucking weird, Chris. It's been a weird week doing all of that stuff because at the same time, I'm also not fucking sleeping through the night because my shoulder is still killing me periodically throughout the day. And right. I've looked it up. I've kind of, I think I said last week, it's either tendonitis or bursitis, or maybe a combination of the two. Maybe I slightly tore my rotator cuff. I don't know. I'm not going to, I just don't want to fucking go to the doctor again. I just don't want to. I've been to the doctor too much this year, and I know that's fucking stupid, and I'm in my 40s and whatever, but fuck it, that's how I feel. But it's just like, there's been, like, last night, or this morning, I guess, I got up at, like, 2:30, and I was like, yeah, this just fucking hurts. This just hurts to the point where it woke me up. So I'm going to go take some fucking Tylenol, go back to bed like a cranky old man. It's getting old shit, Chris. I think what it comes down to is that I don't stretch ever, and I need to.
Yes, stretching is important and good.
Yeah, like it's just not a thing that I do. And like I talked to the girls about it today, and we were like, all right, because fucking, it's cheesy, it's stupid, it's whatever. New Year's resolutions and like all of that stuff and whatever. But for the way that my brain works, this January 1st is something that I will actually stick with, because January 1st this year is a Monday. And because it's a Monday, that to me makes sense. And I can work with that. Because you know the way that I am, right? Like, I was hopelessly addicted to fucking nose spray. And then I went to the doctor and they were like, well, that's kind of contributing to your high blood pressure. And I have not touched it since, and never will again. Because that's just the way I am. And once I get to that point of like, all right, well, I just do yoga every day now. Like, once that fucking clicks, I will then be the guy who's like waking Tiff up at 5 o'clock. Come on, babe, you gotta come fucking stretch. Yeah, like a fucking dickhead. But that's kind of where I'm at now, because this is just not going to be the rest of my life, is what I've decided. I'm not just going to have fucking random shoulder pain. And I know I should go to the doctor, and you should go to the doctor, and we should all go to the doctor. And like, maybe that's what we'll do. Chris, there it is. I've just come upon it. And I know I've been rambling, but I've been drinking. And I do apologize for that. I've had like nothing to drink this week. Fucking whatever. For our 500th episode, we will record live from the colonoscopies that we are getting side by side.
Side by side, hand in hand.
I will fucking hold your hand while two doctors violate us.
Oh, I was violated enough by doctors this week. I finally heard back from my oral surgeon about getting these wisdom teeth pulled. Yeah, it's like $1,600.
I told you, I got pliers. I'm ready to go.
No payment plan options. Just know you have to pay up front all of it. Because they take Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield, but they don't take Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield. Because that's our fucking system right there at work.
Right.
We take your insurance, but we don't take your insurance.
Right.
I'm sorry. What?
Well, we take a version.
Your insurance will cover the actual extraction of the teeth, but everything else involved, your insurance won't cover. Because this part of your insurance will cover this specific action that we will do, but all of the other things surrounding it are not covered. But now, the other things surrounding it have no use aside from prepping you for getting these specific teeth pulled. But those things are not covered. Just the actual yanking of the teeth is covered. Because fuck you. Like, holy shit. So I said, well, what do I do? I need to have these teeth pulled. What do I do? They said, well, you call your insurance company, and then you shop around to find some place that will accept both forms of your insurance. I'm like, so I just have to start cold calling places to find who's actually going to take both flavors of my insurance? Because my dentist office said, this place takes your insurance, so go here. So I went there, and then I waited 2 weeks, and then they said, yeah, we kind of do, but we kind of don't. So give us a whole lot of money. And, like, I have to have this done. And like,
this is why the American healthcare system is people who just go to the emergency room and don't fucking pay their bills. And, like, it really begs the question, how did we let it get this way? There's so many more of us, like, on this side of the not rich people. How can we not? I know there's a lot of us in this country, but like one day, Chris, that's all it would take. General strike. That's all it would take. One fucking day. Nobody goes to work. Nobody goes to work. But that would never happen.
No, it would never happen.
And how? But why?
Because the general mindset of the majority of the people in this country is fuck you, I got mine. So as long as this isn't happening to me, then it's not a problem. Remember COVID? That wasn't that long ago. Like, well, sure, you're asking me to wear a mask, but I'm not sick yet, so fuck all of you. Fuck you, I got mine. Like, there's a subset of people that think people should have things. And that's great. I like those people. You're on my team. People should have things. Maybe it'll cost me a little bit, but you know what? I think people should have things. And that way, when I need something, I will get things too. I'm part of the social contract. But the majority of people is fuck you, I got mine. And that's the end of the story. Because someday, they're going to be rich. And they're going to be in that 1%. Someday, they're one good day away from being the rich people. And so, fuck you. You're not my problem. You're beneath me. I don't need to worry about your problems. Fuck you. I got mine. And I hate it. But that's why that'll never happen. Because that's the mindset.
It's so fucking wild to me, man. Like, I know I've talked
about education. That's the solution.
Yeah, it is.
That's, what is it? I was watching an episode of The West Wing, and they summed it up perfectly. That education's the silver bullet. Education solves crime, it solves poverty, it solves everything.
It solves a lot of problems.
All of your money into education, and all of a sudden, everything gets better. Not all of a sudden, but over time, everything gets better. But
education and unions, man. Everybody should be in a fucking union. I will trumpet that for as long as I live. I got mine. As long as I live, everybody should be a part of a union. And if you work a job and your job doesn't have a union, you should start a fucking union at your job. You should. That you 100% should. And it's hard and it's difficult and you will be the asshole. But God damn it, everybody should be in a fucking union. Anyway, off my soapbox now.
Good times.
This podcast, Chris, 1 hour in, has gone very interesting directions so far
really
today.
Has.
I understand why perhaps we don't grow as much as we should. A video game podcast where we're talking about fucking unions, labor rights, whatever the fuck I was talking about 20 minutes ago, which I've already forgotten, but I'm sure was brilliant.
We're a lifestyle podcast.
It's I know you never listened to Colt Cabana's podcast, Art of Wrestling, but he would always say it's a wrestling podcast, it's a life podcast, and I feel kind of that's where we've settled into at this point, right? Almost 500 fucking episodes in. Special. I'm not fucking kidding about that. I will go get a colonoscopy with you. That's a fucking weird thing to say, but I will because it's the 500th episode. And we have no other ideas at this point. So that is literally so far the best one that I've heard.
Do you think they'll let us bring recording equipment in with us?
I mean, yes, maybe.
It's our first proper video episode of the podcast.
I don't know. Could we get him to come do it in front of your NES games so that there's a nice backdrop?
Yeah, just said no. I'll bring the games with.
What would be the best game to have on a TV behind us as we're getting colonoscopy? Gyromite? I feel like that's the right answer. Bunch of shit going up and down and in and out. I don't know.
Tube slider for GameCube. That would be it.
Oh, God. Fuck.
If you want to get a little more a little less obvious, Space Invaders.
Oh, man. I hope one day that this is one of the episodes of the podcast that my children decide to randomly listen to. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you, Dad? What's up, Hopper? Love that dog.
He was fast asleep.
Oh, man.
So he's getting a bit more territorial. Yeah, he's getting a little bit more protective of this house, you know?
That's good.
He's really settling in. And
that's what you want, though.
Oh, you know, like absolutely. I do want him to bark a little less. I don't want him to freak out whenever somebody, knocks on the door or even opens a door. If a door opens, it's like, dude, stop.
It's all good.
Outside of that, though, he did. I had a bit of a problem with him. So his default play is jump on and chew, which he's not trying to hurt anybody. But clearly other dogs don't understand that because he's jumping and chewing on them, like right out of the gate.
That is how I got Tiff to marry me. Jump on and chew. She's into it. It's fine.
I decided to take him over to the park nearby for a little special walk the other day.
Yeah.
And this guy had his dog off leash, which he shouldn't have.
No.
But he went over and he picked up his dog, and then Hopper started doing his thing. While he was holding his dog, he started jumping on him. And I was like, whoa, buddy. So I start pulling him back. But then he moves around the guy, and he shimmies himself out of his collar. And then he starts jumping on the guy again. So I basically tackle him, and he's looking at me like I'm fucking mortified, right? Because the dog's jumping all over him. But he's like checking his dog for injuries. And I'm like, dude, he's not trying. Like I would have expected a little bit more understanding out of other dog owners that, like, you can tell the difference between my dog's trying to hurt your dog and my dog's trying to play with your dog. And, like, obviously the other dog gets scared and then that dog starts making attack noises, but Hopper's not making those noises. The other dog is. Your dog is.
He's just having fun.
He's just trying to have a good old time. And he's like, oh my God, flying dog. I need to... What's happening here?
Hopper is very Cousin Eddie, I feel.
A little bit.
He's got a Cousin Eddie kind of vibe to it. Like, shitter's full. Like, thanks, Hop. Got it, bud. You're awesome. Keep being great. Now I take him for walks on a harness, right? Because we had a harness for Naga, but she got too fucking fat to wear it. But it fits him, so like now he can't get off the leash. But that was like, God, so like I want to eventually take him to the dog park, but like, how's that gonna go? I mean, I feel like people who take their dogs to the dog park are at least probably more understanding of how dogs play with one another. But like, I don't want to take him there and have him like start shit with other dogs and then have everyone be like, get that dog out of here. I don't know. I'm terrified. But I don't know. I mean, it's worth a shot. You know, like
It's
some
worth a
dogs,
shot.
it's super weird. Like, because Tiff used to work at the doggy daycare, which, but just as an aside, is a fucking horrible place to take animals. Don't take your animal to a doggy daycare. They don't actually give a fuck. And they just let them do whatever for the most part. You'll have like one or two people that try, and then everybody else is just on their phone because it's shitty minimum wage. It's a shitty minimum wage job. But like my aunt has a dog named Rusty, and when you go to my aunt's house, when specifically me and Tiff, because he loves us, like we had him, we fostered him. He went out. He was a foster. Like he didn't stay at the house he went to. Came back to us. My aunt decided to keep him. He's a golden doodle, which means he's a fucking insane ball of shit. And I love Rusty. He's great. But when we go to the house, he is a fucking whirling dervish of just destruction and slobber and nails. And like the only thing he's like an 85-pound dog, right? He's a fucking golden doodle. So the only thing I can do when I get like what I walk into the house and he goes, rah! He fucking loses his mind. Like you can just see it in his eyes, like, fuck, you're here. I'm so excited. I don't know what to do with my hands. Like he just gets fucking crazy. So I just pick him up. I just pick him up and I hold him and I carry him like a baby for like 10, 15 minutes, which probably also explains why my shoulder fucking hurts. I walk around with 85-pound dogs in my arms. But he also goes to the doggy daycare where Tiff used to work. And when he would, this crazy psychopathic dog, when he went to the doggy daycare, would immediately, as soon as all the dogs were let out into the yard, he would run to a corner and cower and sit until it was time for them to go inside. And which is fucking heartbreaking. Yeah. And nobody ever tried to do anything about it. Like Rusty just sits over there in the corner. And the other dogs are running around and there's fights and there's whatever and they're playing and then they're fighting again and then they're playing because they're dogs and that's what they do. But Rusty would just sit in the fucking corner the whole time. So all that is to say, you might take Hopper and he might just be so overwhelmed, he might just fucking chill out. Or he might love it and he might do great. You know, dog people are fucking weird, though.
But they,
dog people are very fucking strange. Like, I've met quite a few of them over the last couple of years, and there's not a ton of them that I would want to hang out with. So, you know.
Well, I guess we'll see. But yeah, he's doing great. He's every day goes outside, gets the zoomies. And Naga had a really fun time tonight. So he's discovered this ball. We had a ball. It was a rope toy that Naga eventually like just ate the rope out of and then left the ball behind. But it's like this blue, super thick rubber squeaky ball. So Hopper has discovered this ball. Like I stepped on it one day and he saw that it squeaked and he was like, "The fuck?" And he started
the fuck you say? I mean,
he just started messing with it, and then he just started chewing it like gum. Like he'll just get the ball and just start squeak, squeak, squeak. So he's doing that tonight during movie time, and Naga clearly wanted to play with him. She's like, "I want to play with the ball," because they've started playing together like a lot. Like,
which is awesome.
They'll be playing keep away with different toys and stuff. Like, maybe 25% of the time, Hopper will be like, "Hey, come play with me," and Naga will be like, "Fuck off, I'm old," and just lay down and be like, just start snapping at him and growling at him, and like he'll eventually get the hint, but it takes him probably longer than it should. But she clearly wanted to play with him and this ball, but had no idea how to go about it. He's just sitting there like chewing it like a gumball, and she walks over to him, tail wagging, ears up, and like just making these weird noises and looking at him and turning her head like, I want to play with this ball, but I don't even know how to approach you right now. And he's just like, and then eventually she just barked at him. She's like, woof. We're like, whoa, because Naga does not bark, like, ever.
Yeah, no, she was, like, sometimes when she was here.
If she was, like, upstairs sleeping and I'll come upstairs super late, she'll bark at me before she realizes what's happening and then get really sad and apologetic and be like, It's all right. It's okay. You're good. You're good. You can woof at me if you need
I'm sorry.
to.
I didn't mean to call you a dick and dog. I apologize.
But like, she just barked at him, and he's just looking at her like, "What? What do you want to do? What are you doing?" So like, I took the ball and I rolled it away, and like he went chasing after it, and she just looked at me like, "All right, that looks like fun." I'm like, "So go do it." So she is remembering how to dog, which is super fun to watch, but also like hilarious how bad she is at it. Like, no idea what to do as far as like how to be a dog, but she's getting so much more exercise. Her demeanor has changed just in these like last couple of weeks. It's just been ridiculous. So
that's fucking rad. That's
you love to
cool.
see it.
It's so weird too. Like so last Friday when we recorded the show, I had taken Peach, the Anatolian Shepherd we got. I think I mentioned it on the podcast. Like we took her to the vet, and it was going to be 6 to 7 puppies is what the vet said. And the vet was like, any fucking day now is coming. So we recorded the show Saturday morning, got up, and it was like, all right, well, I'm not taking Penn to go see -1 today because Tiff has to go to work. So I'm going to stay here, keep an eye on the dog. We'll go see -1 on Sunday. You know, we'll kind of see where the dog is at this point. So Saturday passes, nothing happens. Sunday, Penn and I go see a really early showing of -1, which was fucking great, by the way. Like, such a good fucking movie. And I'm so pleased. Like, it was a very limited release, and they just announced that they're opening it up to like 2,600 more screens around the country, which is fucking awesome. Like, I love that this movie is gaining traction. It's probably the best movie. We were talking about it in Discord. Like, it might be the best movie I've seen this year. It is legitimately a good movie, and it's the scariest Godzilla has ever fucking been. Man, it's so fucking good. But when we get out of the theater, you know, I turn my phone back on and I see a bunch of messages from Tiff that said, drop Penn off and come to the hospital. We're gonna have to do a C-section. Fuck. All right. So drop the kid off and I go to the hospital and we start getting the dog fucking ready. And it's like, I've gotten in good enough with the people at Tiff's vet hospital. Maybe I shouldn't say this out loud. But like, it's my dog, so it doesn't matter.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
We're getting Peach ready for surgery, and Tiff is there, and she's all scrubbed up, and Doc is there, and I fucking love this guy. He's such a nice man. And one of the other girls that works with Tiff is there, and they're shaving her down, and they're like, I just hear, babe, come here. Yeah, what? She's like, I need you to hold the oxygen mask on fucking Peach so that we can put her out. And every 30 seconds or so, as the bag fills up, you got to squeeze the bag so she gets enough of the knockout gas to put her to sleep, because they couldn't like intravenous it because the puppies were in there, and she was very obviously in distress come Sunday. It was like, this should have been happening. Her water broke while Penn and I were at the movies, and like no puppy came out. So it was like, all right, fuck, this is like a serious thing. So I'm back there. Everybody else is scrubbed up. I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt in the fucking surgical suite, holding the mask on this dog. And I'm like, shouldn't somebody who went to school for this, or like who works here, be fucking doing this? Why am I back here? This is weird. I'm kind of uncomfortable, but whatever. So go through the whole thing, and like she finally passes out. They shave her all down, and about an hour later, I get a phone call of like, you need to come back to the hospital now. And that was all Tiff said, because when she's working and she needs to get a hold of me, she uses Siri. Like she'll just, you know, Siri, text whatever and say this, and Siri, like, it just doesn't come across very well. So I got that text and I was like, fuck, every puppy's dead. Every single one of them. Because it was, you need to come to the hospital now. That can't be good. So I get to the hospital, and the reason she had to have a C-section was the first puppy that should have been born naturally died probably like Thursday, maybe Friday morning. Like, it just didn't make it. But unfortunately, it was the first one in the birth canal. So it wasn't wiggling, so she didn't know to push, right? If that makes sense. Like, she's got 7 puppies in there. They all kind of go like one, oh, it's my turn. All right, Bob, I'm going. Bye. And they start wiggling and like they're making movements or whatever. So the mom pushes them out. Because this one wasn't wiggling, if we would have left it any longer, like, she would have died, all the puppies would have died. So the C-section was necessary. But because it was a C-section, Peach was unconscious, so you need to rub the dogs. Like, it is not uncommon for 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes to go by for a puppy to be born before they start breathing. And they start breathing because the mom is licking the shit out of them. Just licking. Just constantly licking them until they start breathing. And there weren't enough people working to consistently be rubbing all of the puppies to life. So I get this text, I go in there, and I just, as soon as I open the door, I hear, get over here and start rubbing fucking puppies. Like, all right. So I run into the back and I put some gloves on and I'm rubbing these puppies to life. And I brought like 2, like me personally, brought like 2 or 3 of these puppies to life, while the other people that were working brought like 2 or 3 of them to life. It was fucking crazy. And then all of this happens, and they stitch the dog back up, and like Peach is slowly coming out of it. And the fucking craziest thing, I've known this dog for a week at this point. It's now 2 weeks. Here on Friday, it's 2 weeks. But at that point, I've known this dog for a week. She didn't have puppies. She went to sleep. She woke up, and there's 6 fucking puppies that are just tugging at her nips, trying to feed off of her, and she instantly became a fucking mom. It's the wildest thing to watch. So I thought you were going to say, and she instantly beat the shit out of all of them. Where's your homework, you fucking prick? Your teacher called me today. No, like, she just instantly started taking care of them. Like, that instinct kicked in, and it's just crazy to see. And it's funny because, like, every now and again, I'll look over into the whelping box and she's there and they're fucking tugging on her and, like, whatever. And all her name's Peach, so all the puppies are Mario named. There's, like, Wendy and Star and Bowser and all of that shit. So all these puppies are, like, tugging at her, and she'll look at me, like, with the same eyes that Tiff, and I'm sure Karen, has looked at you with, of like, can you believe these motherfuckers? They won't leave me alone. I'm just a tired mother already. It's the same fucking look in her eyes. It's so weird. It's crazy. It's so funny. Like, oh man, it's the wildest thing. So just that's actually been rest. Like, yeah, she really does. Like, she got up to, like, the first couple of days, because I built this huge whelping box. It's like 6 feet long and like 3 feet tall and whatever. The big fucking box that I built for her, with a door. So, like, I'll open the door so she can go out to the bathroom, and she, like, the whole time, like, we're walking downstairs to go out to the bathroom, she keeps, like, looking back over her shoulder and, like, stopping to, like, listen to see if the puppy's making noise or whatever. And very, very nervous about, like, going out. And then today, after dinner, I let her out, and we started walking back in. And I was like, all right, Peach, like, go back to your puppies. And she looked at me like, man, I just not yet. I need a fucking minute. I'm good. They're fine. They're in a pile. They'll keep warm. I was like, Peach, you got to go back in there, though. Like, that's your whole... Fine. She's like, fuck. All right, fine. Climb back in there. It's just crazy, like you're saying with Naga, of, like, she's remembering how to dog. And I've got this dog here who is, like, just being a fucking mother. It's weird. Like, I haven't had to bottle feed any of the babies. They're growing. She's keeping them warm. They, like, move away and she picks them up and, like, pulls them back over. It's fucking crazy, man. It's so weird. And, like, right now, it's super adorable. In about 2 weeks, it's going to be a fucking nightmare. Because these puppies get big quick. Right now, it's cute as hell, though.
Yeah, puppies are cute. That's just a fact.
That's been the bulk of the week, honestly. That's why I've been playing like 10 minutes of Portal and 15 minutes of Katamari, because it's like I also have this puppy here, or all these puppies here, and this mother, and yeah. Anyway, E3.
So let's see. There were some games, some gaming stuff that I did this week. Actually, just before the show, I finished. I rolled credits on Mario RPG.
Oh, nice!
It's goddamn delightful.
I think we're getting that for Katie or for Penny for Christmas. I'm not sure which one's going to get it.
It's just as wonderful as it was on Super Nintendo. It's a lovely game, and it's just neat seeing the whole end game through and like cleaned up. Like I said, it's like putting on your glasses to the Super Nintendo game.
Yeah.
It's just really neat seeing Smithy all like well animated and stuff, and it was a fantastic experience. And I'm going to go through and do the post game content and unlock Culex and do that weird Final Fantasy fight, just because I can't wait to see what that actually looks like in this game.
That's awesome.
And I'm super excited about it.
Did you get the Pikmin 1 and 2 physical? By any chance?
Not yet.
I don't remember if you got that. Okay.
It's on
I
my
think
list
we're
of
getting
things
that
to
for
do.
Katie too.
Kind of ran out of money.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We'll see what I wind up for Christmas. It's on my Christmas list, so
I was going to get Tiff. I was going to get Tiff tickets to go see Pink at Lincoln Financial Field, and then I looked at how much tickets were.
I was just going to say,
who's fucking going to this?
We were thinking about getting tickets to see Pink for Ellie because she thinks Pink is great, and then we were like,
Pink is great.
Nope, not at those prices.
Upper deck at a football stadium was going to be like $180 a ticket.
Yeah, per ticket.
That's absurd.
Yeah,
like Pink's great, but
a lot of dollars.
But goddamn, she's not that good. Anyway, okay.
Anyways,
yeah, I think we're getting that for Katie. We're getting her the Pikmin 1 and 2 physical because she wants to come on the podcast at some point, by the way, to talk about her game of the year, which is Pikmin 4, and Penn wants to come talk about Pizza Tower. So I was like, I don't know, we'll work that in at some point.
We'll figure it out. All right. Let's see if John wants to come on and talk about his game of the year, which is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet for some reason.
Is it over Dave the Diver?
Yeah, he got sucked into Pokemon and he hasn't really thought about Dave the Diver much. Although that new DLC that dropped today might suck him back in.
Might pull him back the other way.
Yeah. But anyways, I've been continuing my run through of 2D Mario games. I finished Mario 3 and I was going to start Mario World. And then I decided to kind of continue the way that because remember, I played Mario 1, and then I played Mario Land before I went to Mario 2. So I feel like I'm going to play these instead of chronologically, I'm going to play them technologically. And I think that playing the 8-bit Mario Land 2 before the 16-bit Mario World is a better way to tackle it. So, because like playing Mario Land 2 after Mario World is like, Mario World's my favorite. So Mario Land 2 is a great game, but like the actual mechanics of Mario are so much less advanced because it's on the black and white Game Boy. So I jumped into Mario Land 2, which is such a fucking great game. It's shorter.
It really is.
Every time I play it, I realize how short it actually is. Like I can just blow through a world in a couple of minutes because the levels are all so short because they had to be because it was a Game Boy game. But like it's such an impressive Game Boy game. The physics are all wrong because that's Game Boy. It was never going to move the way he moves on NES. But goodness gracious me, the technological advance from the first Mario Land to the second one is like, holy crap. This first one looks like a downgraded version of the first NES game. And this looks like a slightly downgraded version of Mario World, which is a Super Nintendo game. It's so wild to see. But I love the creativity of all the different worlds, like the Mario Zone and the Pumpkin Zone. Like, before Mario Wonder, you just didn't really see all that much in Mario games for a long time. And it's
not that sort of level of like manic creativity.
Yeah, just like here's a theme that's not, desert, water,
right.
Like, here's just something fucking weird. Like, I remember it was like the joy of playing Mario Odyssey of being like,
happening?
All right, here's a food-themed world where all the food is like weirdly polygonal, and here's a desert that looks like a giant margarita. Like,
and now you're a dinosaur.
It's fantastic, and that's the kind of shit I love in Mario games, and that's the kind of shit.
Mario 2 doesn't feel like a Mario game.
Mario 2 doesn't feel right. But like, and as much as I enjoy New Super Mario Brothers, like New Super Mario Brothers never approached anything like that. As far as like, just the sheer creativity of like, how weird can this get? So yeah, Mario Land 2 is such a great game. Mario 3 is also such a great game. That was a blast to play from beginning to end.
Oh yeah.
And again, I'm just playing everything level by level, no warps. So once I finish Mario Land 2, it's on to Mario World, and then I'm going right to I'm not going to do Yoshi's Island, because I feel like that's just such a different animal, and it's not the kind of game that I'm after. So I'm just going to go straight to New Super Mario Bros. 1 on DS, and I still haven't decided if I'm going to play any more of the New Super Mario Bros. Games besides that one. Like, it's been a long time since I've actually tried to get through New Super Mario Bros. U, so maybe I will, but maybe I'll just play my Mario Maker world instead.
Yeah. I think like if I were to rank them, like, and I think I talked about this when we did rank them, but I really think like I would put Super Mario 2 and then the Super Mario Land games as like my Mario games, the ones that I really like, because they're just so weird and different and interesting and creative and all of those things.
Did we rank every Mario game on an episode?
I think we did. I don't know. God, Chris, it's almost 500 episodes. I know we talked about lawn care a whole bunch for a while.
We did.
We had a lawn care phase.
I'm looking it up. I'm not seeing a ranking of it, because I feel like I would have called it ranking every Mario game. I'm not seeing one.
Because
I was thinking we should.
Well, we were talking about that.
I said that we were gonna. I could rank all the Mario games. I said, because you ranking all the Mario games would just be kind of silly. But I could rank them, and then on a different episode, you could rank all the Metal Gear games, because while I've played some of them, I haven't played all of them, but you have. And I think that would make for an interesting episode. We don't both need to be doing the rankings. I'll just be along for the ride, make fun comments while we do it.
That'll be fun. I like it.
I have also continued to occasionally play the Suika game, although, Karen has been just obsessed with it and playing it near constantly.
I
have gotten the watermelon a handful of times. It's a fun little game. Apparently insanely popular too. Like, it's just blown up everywhere worldwide now. It's just bananas to me. A fruit that's not in that game. I played a little bit more of Berserk Recharged, which is fucking great. Berserk Recharged on my VCS. I fucking love it. And I didn't get a chance to try it yet today, but the demo for Another Code came out. Which
nice.
Is that it was what was it? Trace Memory on DS, like the new version that they're making for Switch. They released a demo today, and I really want to play it, but I just didn't have the time to get to it today.
Yeah.
But that's the game playing I've done. It's time for week old news. Because we're all out of game talk. It's time to talk about the news. What was happening a week ago by the time you listen to this podcast? Beep 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 beep. Week old news. All right, first things first. This is the news story that made me probably the most excited this week. The Video Game History Foundation showed a first look at the VGHF library. They have been working to create an online digital library of like every video game magazine ever. And that's
awesome.
Fucking fascinating. And it's not like, because you can get a lot of that stuff through Internet Archive right now, which is how I do a lot of my research, but this is so meticulously organized. You can search for... They're still in the process of getting it all done, so even when it properly launches, not every magazine that they have is going to be done. but you could search like Sega games from this year, and every magazine that has a Sega game from that year in it will show up in the search. Like, you can search for what issue of Nintendo Power had this game in it, and it will find it for you. Like, it is insane. And they went through this whole, which I never really realized how confusing it was. Do you remember Game Players magazine?
Yes.
So what I didn't realize was that Game Players magazine is completely fucking bananas. There was Game Players magazine, Game Players Nintendo games, Game Players Sega Genesis, Game Players Game Boy, Game Players PC, Game Players Nintendo and Sega. Like, there was a whole lot of different Game Players, and they were all like published at the same time in weird orders. Like, they would just change the name of the magazine month to month for reasons unknown. Like, there was Game Players Nintendo and Sega, and then next month it would be called Game Players Sega and Nintendo. Like, so they've actually organized and with publishing intent order for this Game Players magazine, which is so fucking wild. And there's also a digital library archive of all of their like what do they call it, like tertiary content, like scans of E3 press passes and unreleased games and like music and images and like all this. It's an insane digital library, and I'm thrilled that this is a thing that exists. It's just amazing.
Awesome.
Just absolutely amazing. Hooray for the Video Game History Foundation.
Yeah, that's really fucking cool. Like, because there's so much of that that's just going to end up being lost if we're not conscious of it now. You know, like looking at all the Doctor Who specials have just happened. So, like, the lost Doctor Who episodes have been in the news. You know, the fact that shit just doesn't exist anymore. And you can argue over the relevance and whether or not it actually matters to preserve these things, but it is interesting to go back and look at how writing was and how things were covered and the growth of the industry and all of that stuff. Like, I think that stuff is important.
Same here. Hell, I was just talking earlier about how nebulous it is to find the actual release date for Super Mario Brothers. You know, I'm covering Versus Wrecking Crew in the second episode because one source says it came out in 1986, and then like other sources say it came out in 1985 before the NES launched in US arcades. Like, I don't know which one's right, so I just have to make a special note of that in the video. Like, I don't know exactly which source is right, because we just don't know. That's how the early years of this industry have been treated. But speaking of things of that ilk, there was a recent interview. The Video Game History Foundation also just posted this whole video about Sonic 2's lost stages. They found what was it? They found they were in contact with one of artist Brenda Cook, who worked on Sonic 2, and like there's this screenshot that was used in promotional material for a zone. Was it called Sand Shower Zone or something, or Desert Zone? And like there was a single screenshot of this in existence. People be like, "What the hell is this? Like, this never showed up in the game." And they have, from this box of floppy disks that this woman sent in of her original work, this little visual demo, because like the only thing that exists of that stage was this little it was basically a demo of what the stage could look like. So it has these animations to it that nobody had ever considered before, which is really cool, but it's also just a single screen with like things animating on it, which is still wild. And there's also like a Christmas themed zone, which was the same thing but reskinned to be Christmas themed, which is fucking neat. And like a map screen the elements from this map screen were theoretically supposed to be put into Sonic 2, but wound up being used in the Sonic 1 Master System port instead. Like, it's just a really, really fascinating video, and I love that this shit was found. It's so cool.
That is really fucking... I love when that shit happens, like this random thing that nobody, like, knew about or thought about, or like, here it is. Fucking found it. It's cool. Take a look at it.
Answering these questions, like, because, like, diehard Sonic fans have been in search of more information about this stuff for decades. And, like, to finally have it show up, like, here it is. Here's the actual information that you can base this on. Like, now you can use your imagination and figure out what could have been from this stage that never actually existed, but somebody thought the screenshot of it looked cool enough to use it in the game's promotional material, even though it never made it past this one screenshot. Like, it's bananas. On the opposite side of preservation, a bunch of this comes from Time Extension. A bunch of Data East games have vanished from the Switch eShop. Previously available as part of the Johnny Turbo's arcade series, a bunch of those games just no longer listed on the eShop.
Just gone.
Joe and Mac, Night Slashers, Burger Time, and Gate of Doom, among many others, were previously published on the storefront as part of the Johnny Turbo's arcade series from Flying Tiger Entertainment, but now appear to have vanished from the eShop without an explanation, with many suspecting licensing issues may have had a part to play in their removal. This is the all-digital future. This is what we're afraid of. When things like this can just be, and now it's gone. And you don't get an explanation, and who knows if it's ever going to come back. Like, these days, Burger Time's probably not going to disappear forever, but maybe it is. Who the fuck knows?
Burger Time's just one of those, like, evergreen titles that you would imagine is just always going to be around. But maybe not.
You never know, because you never know when somebody is going to get their hands on that property and then hold it hostage. Right? If you had asked him back in the NES era, is Wizards and Warriors going to disappear forever? He would have said, fuck no, there's 4 Wizards and Warriors games. Of course Wizards and Warriors is going to be around.
How could it disappear forever?
Exactly. How could it disappear? Well, here's how. A company buys it and then ransoms it. Says, no, we're not going to make anything from it, but we're also not going to let anybody do anything with it until you pay us what we think it's worth. And therefore, that property has languished in absolute obscurity since the NES days, because it's owned by a company that has no interest in doing anything with it, but plenty of interest in letting somebody else do it for an obscene sum of money. And they have nothing to lose by hanging on to it. They already paid for it. It's just sitting there. It's just sitting there.
It's ours already.
Nobody can do anything with it until we say so. And that shit's disgusting to me.
And this is why I shall continue to own a parrot and an eye patch.
Yar. Yar indeed. Yar. Where was I? Well, I want to do that one last. I love this headline. I didn't read anything more about it, and I don't think any of us have to. In fact, I'm not going to. But from Destructoid.com, Valve asks Steam Deck users to please refrain from inhaling its exhaust.
I don't want to say anything else about that. Just let it go. Perfect.
I just remember when Nintendo asked people to stop licking the Switch games. Good times.
Fuck.
Destructoid also.
Stop putting shit in your mouths.
You know,
what's wrong with you?
I bet if I started huffing via exhaust port on my Switch deck, maybe I can make portals.
See, this is what I'm saying, Chris. This is why I made fun of people when I was younger. Just fucking stop it. Fuck's wrong with you? Not enough people have told you you're a fucking asshole. You fucking do shit like that. Who even thinks
to do that? Who even comes up with the idea? You know, it's like, remember the Dennis Leary bit about whippets? You know?
Yeah. you know.
Who even thought of that?
Dr.
Destructoid also is.
He just told me to shut the fuck up. Nobody's ever told me that before.
Shut the fuck up by Dr. Dennis Leary.
Oh God! If those of you listening to this podcast, if you take nothing else from this episode, take this. If you have not listened to Dennis Leary's No Cure for Cancer, It is one of the greatest fucking stand-ups of all time. It is just fucking brilliant. China Rection with a cheeseburger on the end of it. It's like fucking funny. Anyway.
Died of Lou Gehrig's disease. How the hell did you not see that one coming?
We used to say, Lou, here's a disease with your name all over it.
Destructoid.com has also posted Death Stranding is getting a live-action film adaptation from A24.
I'm so fucking excited. I really hope they cast somebody other than Norman Reedus, though, just to send the internet into a fucking tailspin.
I think they need to cast Norman Reedus, but as someone else.
As the Conan O'Brien character? What the fuck?
See, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't know anything else about the game. Norman Reedus should be the baby. There you go.
Fucking, oh man, he's a weird looking dude. He would be a weird looking baby.
And like, don't even alter his face. Just his head
that's what I'm
on
saying.
a baby's
Long
body.
hair, beard, the whole fucking thing, just a baby body.
Absolutely. I don't have anything else to say about it. That's a thing that's happening. I think that's not happening though. I think that's it seems like I don't know. I feel like Kojima's only ever wanted to make movies, so now he's going to get this opportunity to.
It is not a story that can be done in 2 hours, though. It is not. It is a TV series. It is a few seasons of a TV series.
It's a trilogy of movies.
Yeah, at least.
Well, what isn't happening is multiplayer for Last of Us. Destructoid.com also. I got a lot from Destructoid this week. Naughty Dog cancels the Last of Us multiplayer game. Naughty Dog is staying focused on single-player games. That's
what they're good at.
Yeah.
The Uncharted multiplayer stuff was great. But, man, Naughty Dog really shines in that thing that PlayStation Studios do so well, that kind of third-person action-adventure, story-driven, single-player game. Like, that is what they're really fucking good at. Like, just among the best games ever made are Naughty Dog games. You know? I mean, maybe not the Crash Bandicoot games, but like once they got to Uncharted and The Last of Us, like as fucking brutal as The Last of Us is to get through, and Last of Us Part 2 and all of that shit, like there's no denying the quality of what they have made. So why dilute yourself for a thing that other studios just do way better?
It was like the multiplayer mode in Metroid Prime 2. Like, yeah, it was neat.
Yeah, like why is this here?
It was only there to tick a box, so...
Yeah, it's fine, but you're not taking down Call of Duty. Like, let it be. That's its own thing. Let Fortnite be its own... Don't do shit like that. And I know they're different than those things and whatever, but, you know, I think if you went back to, like, the last truly innovative... And I don't know that this is a fact, but I feel like the last truly innovative online competitive thing was the Splinter Cell shit. The, like, spies versus mercenaries or whatever the fuck it was, where you had different move sets. Like, that shit was super fucking cool. But there's a reason nobody does it anymore. It's because Call of Duty exists, you know? Like, just let them be that thing. Let Grand Theft Auto be its thing. Just give me the next Naughty Dog thing. Fully support it. As long as all of those people, like, didn't lose their jobs, but, like, actually move on to different projects, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, the last one that I should bring up, because this has kind of been a thing happening over the last couple of weeks. Have you been following anything that's been going on with the YouTuber The Completionist?
I saw something about it on Twitter, and it looked like something that I didn't want to care about, so I just kind of moved past it. I saw that there was there were angry words going back and forth between things. I was like, no, I don't have fucking space in this for my life.
So,
and I figured you might bring it up. So I would just wait till Friday.
I didn't really want to bring it up just because, I'm not like a huge fan of the Completionist. I've never really seen his work outside of like, I have the thing he did where he bought all the everything on the eShop or something like that. I think that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
But he's been running this Indieland thing for a number of years, and it's a whole charity thing where he was raising money for like Alzheimer's and like memory problems and things like that. A couple of weeks ago, Carl Jobst, who's a YouTube fella who's being sued by Billy Mitchell, and he tends to expose wrongdoings that are happening in the world of video games.
He is a bear poker.
He is a bit of a bear poker.
He's the one who did the bullshit on Weta Games or Wata Game. What the fucking
he was one who
Grade
pointed
Games
out
bullshit.
Yeah, kind of pulled back the curtain on that whole criminal enterprise.
Yeah.
So, if I'm not sure if I'm 100% right on my facts here, but I'm pretty sure the way this started was somebody who worked for the charity, the Completionists Family's charity, which I can't remember what it's called now, had said that for the last, decade that he's been doing this thing, none of the money has ever been donated to charity. And somebody should look into this.
That's not a good look.
So, that's not a good look at all. So, Carl posted a video that he and his partner reached out to him, the Completionist, and they had a conversation with him about, asking him what was going on, giving him the benefit of the doubt, and try to figure out what exactly is going on. And he told him a bunch of stuff, and so Carl did what he does, and he continued to investigate and found out that a lot of the stuff that he was saying was kind of bullshit, and that there might be a lot more to this. Like, there might be a whole lot more to this, and I can't pretend that I remember every detail of the video or that I'm smart enough to even follow it on a legal level, but knowing what little I know about the Completionist, I thought, I keep calling him that, and I know he has a real name, and I can't remember what it is. Seems like a nice guy.
Sure.
Gerard, that's it. His name's Gerard. He always struck me as a nice guy, and he was running a charity that was a foundation because his mom had died. And so, like, the whole thing was in his mom's name, basically. Seemed like the kind of thing, like, boy, you'd have to be a real scumbag to you'd have to be a real scumbag. Yeah. So a couple of weeks went by, and Gerard didn't really respond to it. And then a couple of days ago, he posted a response video that was not so great. And so earlier today, Carl posted his response to the Completionist's response, and going a whole lot of steps further, because he seems... Usually this guy's pretty dry about everything.
Yeah.
But it was really wild listening to this video where he is just flat out disgusted by this guy.
Well, I mean, stealing money from a charity, especially a charity that deals in just terminal fucking diseases, it is just the fucking worst thing you could possibly do. Like, so, it doesn't get much lower.
The money had theoretically been just sitting in a bank account for a number of years. And then, like, now that all this stuff came out, a bunch of it got donated, but nowhere near what he's raised over the last decade.
Is this, just as an aside real quick, is this what the fucking Nintendo dude, the guy who has, like, a bunch of the shit, I think he used to work for Bungie, he has, like, all of the fucking, like, Mega Man 2 clay model and all that stuff. He posted something about it because I think he was friends with the Completionist. Like, I think
Art of
that's
Nintendo
where I
Power?
saw it.
I don't know. I
Art of
haven't
Nintendo
seen any of
Power.
that. I haven't been on a lot of Twitter lately, but yeah, I didn't see that he had posted something about it. I saw Pat Contry posted something about it, where he was basically like, yeah, this shit ain't cool. Because there's been a lot of people who are friends with this fella that have been defending him pretty severely in the face of what appears to be extremely damning evidence. Now, I'm not saying fuck this guy forever right now because I don't have all the answers. But I can say that based on the evidence that I've seen so far, like Gerard's response said, "We have receipts. Check this out." And the receipts, to quote Carl, were basically, "Trust me, bro." Whereas Carl in his video showed actual receipts and like tax returns and all sorts of publicly accessible information about where these funds are, how much these various charities have raised, and then how much they've actually donated and what different charities they've worked with. And it's pretty damning evidence. So it's just a huge bummer because this dude seemed like one of the good guys. And I don't know. He's involved in this whole thing with his family, and his family has there's some like big golf tournament thing that seems to be like the even bigger black hole for money than even the charity that's he's been done with this indie. That's not Indieland. Is it Indieland? I don't know. I said it. Yeah, Indieland marathons and stuff. And like a bunch of indie developers have been like super involved in putting their games on Indieland. Like Sea of Stars showed a bunch of stuff on there.
Yeah.
And it's like really wild.
You're right, because it's also like it's not hard to give the money that has been donated to you to charity. Like that's not if you said all of this money goes to charity and not all of it went to charity, you're wrong.
Yeah, that's charity.
Like that's just kind of it.
Yeah,
you know, like you're just wrong. There may be reasons that make sense as to why that hasn't happened, but that should also be something that is communicated, like much smaller scale. But I think our Patreons know that, like, we spend the money on coke and hookers. Like, we're very upfront about our.
Yeah, we're not hiding it.
We're very upfront about, like, yes, you're giving us money to. This is what it's going for. You know, like, these are the things. And if anybody were to ever ask us about it, be like, here, look, here's the fucking website bill. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's not
like we earn a whole lot of money and it goes to paying for website costs. Like, that's it. That's what we do.
When we did the pain in the ass-a-thon, it's not like, well, I'm going to keep $50 out of this because I do really want that new game. Like,
right, yeah.
all of that money
happen.
went to charity.
Yeah.
You know, like every single fucking cent of it, and it's been accounted for. I do have. Let me read the tweet that was sent out by Art of Nintendo Power. Just because I think it's an interesting side of this, because there's a weird thing at the end of this tweet, that I think is interesting. Okay, so it's hi. I haven't said a word on this topic until now, and this will be all I'm going to say. For many years, Gerard has been and will always be my friend. I didn't want to say anything on the current topic until he had the opportunity to craft a response, because I would have just been fighting an uphill battle with trolls. I don't need that kind of stress. That's the first paragraph that I have issue with, because, again, if somebody were to ask us about where we put the money from the pain in the ass-a-thon, do you need time to craft a response to that, Chris?
No, right? So that part's trouble. Anyway, words are important. They're fucking weapons. They're tools. They're all of those things. They have meaning. Anyway, I have been removing and blocking people from commenting negatively on previous posts I've made about our friendship, because fuck those people.
I'd also like to add that I have personally contributed over $10,000 of my own money to organizations that Gerard has raised money for, including the Open Hand Foundation. So unlike
that
most
was his
of the keyboard
foundation,
warriors,
Open Hand.
So unlike most of the keyboard warriors out there, I have actual skin in this game. Again, it's very accusatory. It's whatever. I know. So here's where it gets interesting. I know how hard it is for corrections on scandals to gain traction over whatever the original allegations are, which is why I'm bothering to give any credence to the topic at all. I want to use whatever platform I have to signal boost this response. By his own admission, he isn't blameless, but he is doing everything he can to make this right, and is able to bring significant transparency to many of these allegations. If I stopped supporting every friend I have that's made a mistake, I wouldn't have any of them left. And that last line is the one that I found really interesting. Because, like, again, this isn't... If you took money for charity and didn't give it to the charity, that's not a mistake. Oops. That's not what that is. You know, like, I forgot what to do with this $40,000 that I got. That's not a fucking mistake. Like, that's a weird... For years. And I'm
like
only now doing
or
it...
something like that.
Yeah, like, and I'm only now doing something about it once I've been publicly called out on it by a dude who is known to call out known troublemakers. That's a fucking weird response to that. And I find that it's troubling, it's sad, because these organizations need this money.
Yeah.
Like, they really... I cannot think of a worse way to fucking go than Alzheimer's. That to me, that's the one that scares me more than anything. Like, full transparency, as an adult who's facing their own mortality at some point, that's the one. So when you have these organizations that are set up for cognitive diseases and those sorts of things, like that gets me a little more angry, just because it's the one I'm more scared of. But regardless of what it is, it would be like, we are small potatoes and we gave a couple $1,000. You know what I mean? Like, it fucking matters. You don't get to just be like, well, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Like, that's not... man, I find that troubling. It's an interesting story.
Yeah, there's a whole bit in Carl's video that went up today that's just a whole chunk of the conversation with him. Basically saying not what he's saying in his response video that went up.
Right.
Which is... he threatens to sue them for, like, the stuff that you've said about me is false and libel, and gets real angry at the end. And then, like, well, the response video has receipts in it. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
He's saying things. These are your words. These are what you told him.
This is the shit you said.
I don't want to take any sort of official side, but if it is as bad as it seems, then that just kind of makes me really bummed out, because I thought this dude was kind of cool, and hopefully there is some sort of positive resolution to it. I don't see how, but again, I'm not a genius. I don't really know. I don't know what I don't know, but it does seem awfully strange that this money's just been sitting there for a long time. I think the thing he said about it was they were waiting to get enough of it to make a specific kind of donation so that they can choose what's done with the money. And I think Carl pointed out in his video, like, that's bullshit too, because you don't have to wait for it to be a certain amount to do that. You can just make that kind of donation. I don't know. I just don't know.
People who need money are not like that. It's just fucking stop, man. It's always an interesting thing to me too, of like video games and this industry and the surrounding kind of vibe that's around it is just this very interesting thing where it's still, depending on the games that you play, it can be a nerdy thing. There are still things like kids are still made fun of for playing specific types of games versus other types of games. And then you have like the stereotypical, like the Grand Theft Auto and the sports gamers and like all of these things. And so video games are like this weird bro club, but also this like nerdy niche thing, but also this fucking toxic hellscape. If you go on Twitter, where it's just this unbelievably disgusting, like, right-wing conservative, and I don't say that to bash conservatives, I mean the crazy right-wing extremist conservatives that are found on Twitter, that are just a fucking hellscape. There was a whole thing with Marvel Snap this past week where they were doing this creator tournament, and one of the official, like, it was a 12, they were calling it the Conquerors thing, and there were 12 official YouTube partners of Marvel Snap that were going to compete and play in like a tournament kind of thing. And at the start of it, there was one like female creator. It was just a bunch of white dudes, right? It was exactly what you would expect. It was a bunch of white guys that were in this thing, and there are a bunch of creators of color and female creators, and there's a lot of diversity. It's a fucking comic book game. There's a lot of fucking diversity that's just kind of naturally in there. And a bunch of creators pulled out, and they added like 3 more women to the competition, and that's awesome, and it's cool that they recognize their mistake. But one of the women who was like pushing for this change was just completely talked down to and mansplained about how like men and women have the same opportunities in America and blah 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 and all of this shit, just like this hellscape of fucking just exactly that terrible thing. And then you hear a story, right? So you hear a story like this, and this like then goes over into that like hellscape section of what video games are. But then the sad part, I guess, is that this story will gain more traction. We've talked about it more in the coverage that we've now given it than we ever have about games done quick. We've mentioned that it's cool, but not the fact that they're doing all of this and all of this good work and giving money, and like there's all of these wonderful things, but we're just in this period right now where that fucking negativity is the thing that brings everybody in, and now this is what is happening. It's just very sad.
Well said.
Yeah. Bums me out.
Well, all right. That's enough of that.
Video games.
We're going to take ourselves
Let's go
a
back
quick
to
break.
talking about lawn care.
Yeah.
That's a way happier topic.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the death of E3, another happy subject.
More fucking positive news.
Now, we're going to look back on positive things that we remember from the Electronic Entertainment Expo, which is now sadly behind us, even though it, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't really need to be, but, you know, that's a podcast for another podcast. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around.
We are Safe at Home, the leading dog rescue in the heart of New Jersey. Are you searching for a loyal companion, a dog that will bring love and joy to your home? Look no further than Safe at Home. At Safe at Home, we believe in giving every dog a second chance. We rescue, rehabilitate, and find loving forever homes for dogs in need, right here in the Garden State. Our dogs are ready to make a lasting impact on your life. Each one has a unique story, a wagging tail, and an incredible capacity for love. When you adopt from Safe at Home, you're not just gaining a pet, you're becoming a part of our family. Our dedicated team ensures a seamless adoption process, providing ongoing support and guidance. With New Jersey's beautiful parks, beaches, and trails, you and your new furry friend will have endless opportunities for adventures and cherished memories. Safe at Home relies on the support of compassionate individuals like you. Your donations and volunteer work enable us to continue saving lives and finding forever homes for these amazing dogs. Join us in creating a safer, happier community for dogs in New Jersey. Together we can make a difference and give every dog the chance to feel safe at home. Visit our website or call us now to learn about how you can be a part of the Safe at Home mission. Safe at Home, because every dog deserves to be loved and protected. www.safeathomerescue.org.
Hi everyone, Chris here. Podcast listening is free, but podcast creation is not. That's why the Geekade Patreon exists. In an effort to help us pay the bills, we've got a Patreon page set up where you can gain access to our monthly podcast topic schedule, get early access to many of our shows, and more. If you'd like to help support Geekade and keep these shows running week after week, head over to the Geekade Patreon page, linked in the show notes of this very podcast. All right, we're back. No warning, we're
Whoa.
fucking back.
Jesus!
Went and got myself some water, and I ate myself a taco.
Oh, you fuck. What
I had leftover taco
I could have
stuff,
I could have had cheesecake.
You could have. That's a fucking you
cheesecake
problem.
I thought you were getting water. Water is not water and a taco.
I didn't say that I wasn't getting a taco.
That is accurate, but fuck you, I think, at the same time.
All right, so it was officially announced that E3 is officially dead. And that makes me sad for
Again.
a number of reasons. Well, you know, they were like, E3's
I suppose
been
it wasn't officially dead.
Yeah, it was like, it's been canceled this year. We're going to work on retooling it. You know, we're going to try again. This was, never mind, it's done. We're not even going to try to revive this anymore. Which I also don't necessarily believe. I feel like it's a recognizable enough brand that maybe 5 years down the road, they'll kind of try to take a swing at it again. I don't know. The whole thing kind of stinks because E3 could work now. If anything, stuff like the Game Awards and Summer Game Fest show that it's possible to get a bunch of companies on a similar page, right?
Yeah.
It's possible to do that kind of thing. I hate those things because they're not
E3.
It's not necessarily, they're not E3, and not just because they're not called E3. It's like they don't seem to, they don't feel right. They don't feel like they're coming from the right place. We had a whole conversation about the Game Awards last week. E3 was a special kind of magic, and a part of that was that the big companies were always involved in E3, and stuff like Summer Games Fest, like, you know, the big companies are only kind of involved in those. Like, Sony's not having a press conference at those things. Like,
at PAX East. Yeah.
Right. And it makes me sad that thing, that just centralized location of, like, I mean, everyone's doing something around that time, right? Like, just this year, we gathered together all that stuff and went week after week of, like, okay, these are the ones that happened this week. These are the ones that happened this week. Everyone's doing stuff around that time. But there isn't one centralized.
Pain in the ass to do it that way.
It really was. That there isn't some sort of centralized, here's what's happening. Let's all get together and do this at the same time and let people play some of this stuff in person for those who can make it out and that kind of stuff. That's no longer a thing is sad to me. But, you know, we'll all move on. State of Play exists, Nintendo Directs exist, like, there are similar things in the world. it's just no longer E3. But we thought that it would be a nice thing to do this week to take a quick look back and remember some of our fondest moments from E3. I'll start with you, Dan. Do you have any fond memories of the Electronic Entertainment Expo?
$2.99.
Yeah, that was pretty fucking cool.
That was fucking awesome. That was great. It was such a fucking baller move to come out and just be like, yep, this is $100 cheaper than the Saturn, and then just walk off.
That was it, because that's all they needed to say.
Yeah,
it was,
and he did it just like that too. Super fucking monotoned. $2.99, and just walked away. It was fucking awesome. And what's crazy about that moment too is that was like such a fucking sea change in the world of video games. That was, the PlayStation 1. How much is it going to cost? There were rumors that it was going to be exorbitantly expensive. Like, this is you thought a Neo Geo was expensive. Fucking hold on to your nuts, because this is going to be crazy. And just dropping that $2.99 killed Sega. Killed them. They're still recovering.
I don't know that they ever will fully recover.
Like, they're still recovering from that fucking moment. It's wild.
that was the beginning of the end. Well, yeah, good call. I will say that one of my favorite moments would be E3 2007. Nintendo's. This isn't necessarily a good moment, although I have a lot of positive associations with what came out of it. During 2007, Nintendo was in Wii mode, and they showed off Wii Fit, and this is where Reggie said, "My body is ready," which I will always be tickled. I will always be tickled by, but I also thought Wii Fit was so goddamn cool. I still think it's such a neat piece of technology. I think it's a really interesting. I still use it from time to time for yoga, and it's great. It was such a. I'll never forget what it was like when our Nintendo rep finally brought it into my Game Crazy in Union City, and we got to get our feet on that thing and be like, "Well, this is Nintendo doing exercise." There you go. Like, fucking nailed it. But like. That whole meme of Reggie's "My body is ready" coming from E3 2007. Good times.
Well, and I would also harken back a scant 3 years earlier to 2004 when we met Reggie for the first time. Yeah, that's
actually. I have a whole thing with E3 2004. That's one of my favorites. But that was just going to be Nintendo's entire E3 2004. Was unbelievable. It was.
All right, well, save that then, because that one sounds serious. Let's do the more silly ones. I would like to then go forward to Nintendo 2008, and whatever the fuck that Wii Music thing was at the end.
Oh my god,
it was awesome. It's so fucking bad and stupid. And it just fucking Shigeru Miyamoto like pretended to fucking like play a trumpet or whatever the hell he's doing.
They had that weird dude come out and be DJ
Ravi drums. Yeah, DJ Ravi drums. What the fuck is happening?
I remember looking at that, and even me, as the diehard, like, I can see the good in all of it. Even me looking at that, being like, I don't know if this is it, guys. I don't know if this is it. And like, man, they had a couple of really bad ones there. Like, I can't remember whatever year it was that they showed off the Wii U, and clearly they had something planned to close off, like with a big one more thing, but then it wasn't ready because they ended off with like an in-game fireworks presentation from Nintendo Land, which was like the most underwhelming thing imaginable. I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is not okay.
Yeah.
It's brutal. Brutal.
Yeah. It's amazing.
But it's amazing, yeah.
It's the kind
100%.
of thing that would never make it to a Nintendo Direct now, because somebody would shoot that and watch it back and go, nah, no, that's not going out. No, we're not fucking doing that. Sorry, Miyamoto-san. No. Bad. Go back in your corner and make more Pikmin.
Oh boy. I'm trying to think what other good ones. I know there's like a bunch of like actual good musical presentations throughout the course of E3. Kevin Butler.
But that's
what year?
That's not
what year
I
was
liked
Kevin
it.
Butler?
2010.
2010. I remember that. I was so sad that they didn't stick with this guy for longer. I love
he was
this
great.
Kevin Butler.
He was the VP of
dude.
everything.
Yeah, it just. I really
Those
liked
Sony
this
commercials
era
were so
of PlayStation.
funny.
Like,
Yeah.
I like it when PlayStation is not afraid to show off some sort of goofy ass personality. You know?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that, because right now PlayStation is very, very sterile in their presentation.
I would agree.
You know, you look at State of Play and it's like very auteur,
it's very generic and very
future.
It's very cold,
calm, and it doesn't have much of a personality. And that's not their games.
No,
their games
even
are
a little
that,
bit.
but their hardware and their presentation right now is, and that really bugs me. But this right here, they were not afraid. Like, this was a great ad campaign. That was like, the it only does everything ad campaign.
Yeah.
Like, that was good shit right there. And I remember. No, go ahead.
Yeah, bringing him out on stage, the actor,
yes,
Jerry something.
Yes, because the commercials were fun, but then he
conference.
came out and did the press. Yes, exactly. That was so great.
And to take the piss out of what the press conferences had become at that point. Because, like, oh my God, some of those press conferences were just shut up. Show me a game. I don't fucking care about all of this other shit. Why are you up here talking to me about the development of the cell processor? I couldn't give a fuck less. What can I play on this thing?
Look at these rubber ducks in a tub.
Yeah, oh God, just get the fuck out of here. Like, do more of that. How do you share a game on PlayStation 4 or whatever?
Oh my God, I was just going to
3.
say that one.
And
that
you just handed, like, that was awesome.
Because that was the Xbox One was going to do all this, like, they did this whole thing where everything was going to be DRM'd. You couldn't share physical games. And I don't know how they whipped this shit up in time, but they put this together, this wonderful, snarky-ass video about how to lend your games on PlayStation.
10 seconds long.
Microsoft reverses their whole thing like a day later.
Yeah.
Like, man, when Sony was on top of their game, they were so brutal at handling E3. Like, they were so good at it. They just masterful. But then you also had things like the other end of the spectrum where they were walking people to different stages. Remember that one?
That wasn't E3 though. That was their own. Wasn't that their own thing?
That was their last E3. I thought
that was the Sony experience or whatever that they tried to do instead of E3. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think that was the following year. I think their last E3 was when they walked them from from place to place, and everybody hated it.
Dumb.
And that's when they moved on to do their own thing. That was such a terrible, terrible idea.
Yeah.
But before that, though, they knew how to put on a show at E3.
They did. They were fun. I really liked, it's such a fucking stupid thing. Because that's what I like about E3. I like more of the silly shit, like Peter Moore in 2004, when he was the vice president of Xbox, coming out and be like, when's Halo 2 coming out? And fucking rolling his sleeve
rolls
up with
his sleeve, his fake ass tattoo.
9th.
Like,
And it's a shitty tattoo. It's such a bad tattoo.
Did he do the same thing again with Grand Theft Auto, or was that the
Grand Theft Auto 4? He did it in 2006 for the 360 Grand Theft Auto 4, but on his other arm. It's just such a it's such a goofy ass thing. I got a fucking tattooed on my arm. Did you? You nerd? Shut up. What's wrong with you? Fuck, man.
You love it.
Outstanding. I love it.
All right, well, I'll jump in. I don't want this to go on forever. I got to jump in and talk about Nintendo's E3 2004, which was just breathtaking top to bottom. Yeah. In 2004, the GameCube was getting kicked around a bunch, and they kicked off with this amazing video sequence where the tagline was, "We make games that make games worth playing." And they're showing off shit like Bat and Katos, Metroid Prime 2, and then they start going into the actual trailers. They kick off with the trailer for Metroid Prime 2, which looks incredible, even though it is in the wrong aspect ratio, which will always bother me. It was fucking stretched to widescreen, and it looked awesome but terrible at the same time. And then they followed it up with Resident Evil 4. The GameCube exclusive Resident Evil 4, which looked light years beyond anything on any system. You're just looking at the visuals in that game being like, what the hell am I looking at? And it just kept going. Like, they showed off a couple of trailers, then Reggie comes out and introduces himself. I'm about kicking ass and taking names, and we're about making great games. Just, you're not about kicking any ass. Like, what? You're not up here to beat anybody up. You're awesome, but like, stop that. This is so silly. You and your giant oversized jacket. You introduced Bigfoot Pizza, which was fucking genius, but
what's wrong with you?
But I love that guy. I loved his personality. I loved their entire attitude, and the entire E3 presentation. Although the business stuff, it showed a level of confidence that Nintendo hadn't had in such a long time. And they were just really doubling down on what the GameCube could do and making great games that were so worth playing, even though they turned out to not be. You know, Star Fox Assault turned out to not be what everybody wanted it to be. Resident Evil 4 went multi-platform almost immediately. And Metroid Prime 2 went up against Halo 2. So even though Metroid Prime 2 is a masterpiece, it got its ass beat in sales because it went up against Halo 2, of all things. But that brief moment at that E3, it was like, that was just what it felt like to be a Nintendo fan. And then they did the ultimate E3 move, where we want to show you one more world, and they showed off Twilight Princess for the first time, which nobody knew was called Twilight Princess, but that moment still gives me chills whenever I see it.
Massive.
Unfucking believable, because everyone had been saying, like, this is following Wind Waker. Where's my grown-up Zelda? I want big man Zelda game. Manly men. Edgy,
I want brown Zelda.
That's right.
Where's brown, beige Gears of Zelda?
And I count myself among them. I always wanted a grown-up, realistic Zelda, because we were kids at the time. And that's what you think you want when you're a kid. You want it to be grown-up, because I'm a grown-up. This is serious stuff.
I'm a big, tough boy.
And they fucking delivered it. That trailer is unfucking believable. It still looks so good. But it was just presented in such a perfect way that they were dead silent about it the entire show. And they just showed other unbelievably cool-looking shit. A new F-Zero on Game Boy Advance. The Nintendo DS is coming, and it's got 2 screens. Metroid Prime 2, a new Star Fox game, this exclusive Resident Evil that looks just breathtakingly unbelievable, a new RPG that's only on Nintendo. Like, they were just batting 1,000 the entire time, and then to end on the Zelda game that everyone had been asking for. Like, this is exactly what you wanted, and it looks fucking incredible. Only to have, like, the trailer end and Miyamoto's out there wearing a 1-up t-shirt with a Master Sword and a Hylian shield. It was unbelievable. It was just the coolest goddamn thing that could ever have possibly happened. It was one of my favorite moments in the history of video games, and I still I still remember where I was when it happened and what it felt like for me to see it, and I was just bowled over. I was in tears because I'm a giant child. It was like it was unbelievable, an unbelievable year.
I think one of the only things that matches that announcement, not the whole thing, because the whole thing really was. That's probably the best E3 has ever been. That particular presentation for Nintendo. But the only thing I think that somewhat matches the Zelda reveal there in 2004 was in 2015 in the PlayStation section when we got the first official look at the Final Fantasy VII Remake. That just sent people fucking bananas.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Because that was in 2005, there was a tech demo for the PS3, and there was some Final Fantasy VII shit in there. And it was like, oh, they're doing it! It's gonna happen! It's gonna be the fucking remake! It's all we've ever wanted! Please make it fucking happen! Oh, I'm so excited! And then 10 years later, until it was officially announced. And then the game didn't come out for another fucking 5 years. But still, like, that moment... The response from the crowd was as raucous and boisterous as it was during that Zelda announcement. And there have been very, very few things that have gotten that big of a reaction at E3. Those two are just massive. And it you know, it kind of, after that, like, it kind of lost its luster. You know,
because it's hard to come up with something that could even possibly elicit that kind of reaction. Like, personally, for me, the announcement of Kid Icarus Uprising was almost that big.
Right.
That was like, oh my fucking god! It looked amazing. It came out of nowhere. I was just super surprised. And like, we've had moments like that, but not at E3 in front of a live audience, right? Like the Metroid Dread announcement of literal decades of waiting and wondering, what was this game? Yeah. Will it ever be real? And then all of a sudden, oh, never mind.
Yes, it is.
Here's Metroid 5. Oh, by the way, it's 2D and it's Metroid motherfucking Dread. It's just one of those I'll never forget that moment kind of a things. But
it's one of those things where we're talking about things that, you know, it really, I would say over the last 5 or 6 years, is really when things have devolved into social media is where we, and I know this makes me sound like an old fucking man, and I really don't mean it to, but that's where we do news now. You know, like that's where news happens. Like, we control our own narratives, we control our own stories, and Twitter and Facebook and things like that were around in 2015, certainly, but they weren't the de facto communication source for big companies. Like, that shift hadn't fully happened yet, and once that shift kind of took place across the industry, that was what killed E3. Because once Nintendo, and really, honestly, like, I think the weirdest part about it is that Nintendo was such a huge part of E3, and I would place most of the blame on the death of E3 on Nintendo, because they showed everybody with the Nintendo Directs, you don't have to do this once a year and spend a gargantuan amounts of money to set up all these things, like the Metal Gear Solid shit that Sony set up, like that. And as stupid as the thing was for God of War walking people back and forth, that was a gargantuan amount of money. Just stupid money. You don't have to do that. You just make a video, 2 dudes in front of a white background, and then just play trailers. Like, that's all you have to do. So, like, Nintendo really showed the industry that E3 is not necessary, you know, because the would
that part
would
of
Breath
E3
of the Wild
necessary.
have sold any better if it was announced in front of a live audience? Like, no.
Well, that's the thing.
You know?
That part of it, just because the press conferences are only a small part of E3. What Nintendo did was what everyone should have done, was they had their presentations pre-recorded so that you wouldn't wind up with the Skyward Sword instances where Miyamoto's up on stage and a bunch of technical difficulties make everything look like shit.
Right.
Like
or
the controls
fucking,
don't work.
The first Kinect demo that just didn't fucking work.
But then they followed it up with, like, they had a booth. And that's where you would get all of the press coverage. Like, yes, here's the Nintendo Direct, here's the announcement, but now you get the hands-on impressions from everyone playing it at the booth and the Treehouse Live, which was fucking genius. Like,
it is.
It was absolutely
but I also
great.
I don't need to fly to Los Angeles for that because I can just download the demo that you put out.
Well, no, that's the thing. It's not for us. They didn't make it so that people would go out there. It was for the press. Press gets to play all these games early, and then they get to write their impressions or do their videos and stuff live from E3. It wasn't for people to fly across the country to do it. And I thought that was the way you handle it, because that's the Electronic Entertainment Expo. That's the point of it. It was for the press to give impressions of what's coming soon, and that's the way it should have been done. But because I don't know, maybe because Nintendo pulling out of doing those live press conferences, those cost a lot of money to make, and I'm sure the ESA got a bunch of money for being able to host those things too. So I don't know. I don't understand everything that was behind it, but it seemed to me that having a Nintendo Direct followed by Treehouse Live segments and some sort of really super cool booth that's Zelda themed or Mario Maker themed or something like that was awesome. And that should have continued to be the future of it, but it just they weren't able to hold on to it.
Yeah, I really honestly just think it comes down to, once it became obvious that I don't need to, me, the giant fucking greedy corporation, doesn't need to spend extra money. Like, you're going to buy it anyway? Okay, I'll just show the trailer then. I don't have to go do all this other stuff. You know, it's the same thing. Like, it's what the Game Awards does now. Like, Keighley has wrapped it around this award show, but you're just showing trailer. I don't have to do anything. Here you go. Here's a fucking trailer. I sent you a video. I emailed it to you. Like, that was the amount of work that I put into it.
Right. But that's not as effective as what we've seen especially when you're doing creative stuff. When you have the ability for people to try those games, right? When you do stuff like Nintendo would show off something and then they would do, here's a Treehouse Live segment about it. And then you get to see what the actual game is about.
Right.
That's where you started to, like, when you've got new games that are like, well, this looks like every other new game coming out, so you don't need to do a gameplay demo of it because you already know what this game is. You've played it before. This is the new version of that. Whereas when you've got a bunch of creative things that are new and are different, then you want those impressions. And that's what I think was kind of missing.
No, I agree with that. But, you know, also part of that, too, is like, again, I'll just put out a demo. I'll let people play it. You know, but
that's a totally different animal, though. You put out a demo.
Isn't that how we found out about Katamari? Wasn't that from the Game Crazy show?
I don't remember if it was from the show or just when the game showed up and it was $20.
I can't remember. It was from the Game Crazy conference. Like,
could have been.
You and the other store managers came back. I didn't get to fucking go, pricks. I don't even think I was working for Game Crazy at the time. But still, there should have been invited because I'm a lot of fun to go to events with. I think you guys came back and you were like we tried this weird fucking game because Konami had this thing here. Like, Namco. That's definitely part or Namco, sorry. I'm tired. That's definitely part of it. Like, I do agree. There is something missing. I just ultimately
just dropping a demo
dollars and cents thing.
Just dropping a demo, that's not the same thing, because these demos at these events were very guided. You put a demo online for everyone to play. You've got to have a much more thoroughly tested demo if you're going to make it public like that. If you're going to show it off at an event where there's going to be people there next to you telling you about the game, you're going to be very limited on what you can and can't do. Like, you can still control the narrative. That's a very different situation.
It is.
It is not just as simple as, well, now we'll just drop this demo. No, that demo that you're going to put online now has to have a ton more work put into it than showing off an early build of a game designed and then carved out as a specific demo for something like E3. That's a totally different type of thing. So I don't think that's a one-to-one comparison. Regardless.
It's probably not, but it is cheaper. That's at the end of the day.
I don't know that it is cheaper. You don't have to build some sort of crazy multi-million-dollar booth to do the actual demos of the games, but the amount of extra manpower you're going to have to put in to making sure the demo you're putting out for public consumption isn't going to make your product look broken and give you a whole lot of negative PR, that's a lot more costly. The manpower to go into that's a lot more costly than having it available at an event for a couple of days where you've put up some signage, you know? I don't think that's cheaper at all.
I don't know. It's not a space I'm involved in.
Do you have any more? I got one more.
No, what's your last one? We should get to wrapping it up here.
My favorite, and this is just because of me personally, I guess my favorite would technically always be that Zelda moment. But the following year was E3 2005, and that is the year that I got to go. So that's always going to be one of my favorites because I got to actually go
taking
to
it
E3.
Out and swinging it around.
That's what I'm doing. It's hard to tell because I'm hung like a Tic Tac, but but yeah, E3 2005.
You want to see the gum stuck to the side of my leg? Anyway,
I actually got to go, and I wish I knew where all of my pictures are. I have 4 pictures. And I don't know where the rest of them were. I took a ton of pictures, and I remember them, but I don't know where the rest of them are. I assume they're on an old computer somewhere that I might still have somewhere in this house. But I only have 4 pictures right here that I can look at, and I remember just being so completely blown away by this massive event. It was the year that Nintendo had shown off Fire Emblem for GameCube, Mario Baseball, Mario Strikers, Geist, whatever number Mario Party, Battalion Wars, Odama, and Nintendo Pennant Chase Baseball. Fucking Odama, just like is this giant banner for Odama, like right next to Mario Party. Like, this is right there with it. Their officially licensed MLB baseball game that never fucking came out.
Nope.
This is such a weird year, but their whole thing was like, we also have Twilight Princess playable this year. And so I remember waiting in this super long line and getting to play Twilight Princess for like 5 solid minutes. And it was very guided, but you went through into this big dungeon that they had built that had like, a big animatronic wolf Link and some dude dressed up as Link, and like, it was fucking amazing. But I remember playing A Boy and His Blob for Nintendo DS that never came out.
Yeah.
I got to play Soul Calibur 3 early, which was kind of amazing. I saw the Game Boy Micro in person. There was like a whole wall of DS systems set up that looked super cool. Sony's booth had these... Was it Sony's or Microsoft? No, it was Microsoft. They had these weird, like, globe chairs that were, like, hanging from the ceiling that you could sit in and... No, it was Sony because it was for PSP. You could sit in these weird little floating chairs and play PSP, which I thought was super awesome. God, the original PSP is such a sleek system. I wish I could remember... I wish I could find the rest of my pictures. I gotta go up into the attic and find that old computer, see if it turns on, see if it has any more of my old pictures on there, because I would love to find...
the hard drive out.
Oh, it's an iMac. I don't even know where I'd find the hard drive.
Oh, fuck.
Weird old things. It's all built into the screen. It's fucking weird systems. I also remember
the fucking hard drives at your neighbor's house. Why? Why is that over there? It's fucking weird, Steve.
I remember being there and seeing Miyamoto from a distance. I saw him walking with like some sort of entourage into the expo before it opened. The doors opened. The stairs leading up to it, all the vertical parts of the stairs all formed a picture of Twilight Princess Link, which was amazing.
That's dope.
I met Reggie for like a minute. Reggie and Eiji Onuma were both walking the show floor when I was in there, and I didn't recognize Onuma. I recognized Reggie, and he said, "You having fun playing Nintendo games?" It's like, "Absolutely, sir." It's like super overly cordial to him because I had no idea what to say, and they said, "Keep it up," and they kept walking. It's like, all right, that was weird.
Thanks, Reg.
Thanks, buddy.
Can I get a selfie? Which is a thing we don't do yet.
I really wish I had gotten one of those Twilight Princess trailers on a DS cartridge because they're worth like $1 bajillion now.
Yeah, right.
They gave out a new version of Nintendo Power, like they had redone Nintendo Power, and they were giving out the new issue there. I still have that. I still have all my paperwork from E3, like all the flyers and pamphlets and swag and stuff that I picked up. I still have all that stuff. But it was just such a wild experience getting to go out there and be there. But I didn't get to catch any of the press conferences because I was there as like from, I think it was through Game Crazy that I got to. Was when I was working at Game Crazy. I can't remember exactly if I bought tickets or if I got tickets.
I think you went with Morrison.
God, did I?
I think so.
Maybe I did. Yeah, maybe I did. Fuck, I don't even remember. I gotta find these pictures and jog my addled brain. But yeah, that was awesome. It was amazing. I'm super glad I got to do that.
Yeah, no, that's
I got to do that, and I got
cool.
to do what is it? San Diego Comic-Con. I did each of those exactly once, and I'm good. Never have to do that again.
Yeah. Whereas I can't imagine a thing I'd rather do less. I
don't want to do it now. I would definitely not want to do it now. I was super thrilled to be able to do it then, but now, no, absolutely not.
Even then, like I joke about, like, you didn't fucking take me out there. I wouldn't have wanted to go. I'm like, no, I don't want to fucking do that. Fuck go around. I don't like people that much. I know I'm a very like outgoing, people friendly person. I don't fucking like it though. I'm not actually super into it.
I very much was. Because I was just so into this stuff, you know. I'm so very into this entire industry. So being able to go out there and see it firsthand was fucking wild. Just loved it.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
That's it. So
Fuck
long, E3.
Oh wait, sorry. Yeah, bye. Let's be nice.
I'm sad that it's over, but you know, there's similar things. We'll continue to get to see the various things that E3 is and was and can do as years go by.
The thing that makes me saddest about it is that we now have to come up with different content for the show. We can't do our annual E3 thing.
Sure we can. They're all going to still, just like they did this year, they're all going to still have things happen around that same time. So
you think?
We're just going to... They did last year. E3 hasn't been a thing for like 2 years, and every year they still do it. Because they've got to have their big summer things. That's just when they have to announce things to have it. Fair. Yeah, that's not going to change. It's going to continue to be not at all centralized, and we've got to pay attention to a bajillion different things to make any of it make sense.
Hopefully, the Cozy Game Showcase will be 6 hours this year instead.
Oh yes, can't wait to watch all of that. Goodness gracious me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. That is our show. Thanks for listening, everybody. Join us next week when we'll be covering the final 10, 20, 30, 40 of 2023. Dan has been working hard on preparing the show.
That's
he actually has.
I legitimately have. I'm trying to make this shit listenable for all you folks.
Which is wild. And I see what you did there, but it's wild because you have notoriously and famously and proudly proclaimed how little effort you put into this show for such a long time. And
a decade at this point of no, just show up and be funny. It'll be fine.
I love that you're putting all this effort into making the 10, 20, 30, 40 more stable. And good times were had by all.
They were. And it's really... Because, like, this is... the 2024 will be still kind of, like, trickling in. 2025 is when the 40 starts to get, like, okay, we legitimately have the NES to talk about.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, here was this one random game that came out 30 years ago, but here's all of the NES library is coming, but 40 fucking years ago. Like, so we get through 2024.
We're hitting some serious Atari stuff as well. Like, the 2600 is going to get its second wind, and we're going to see a lot of shit there that's super interesting. Like,
yep. It's going to be interesting. I'm actually kind of excited for this. I'm hoping that the way that we found to break down the release dates here, I think is going to make for a better show for everybody listening. I think. We'll see.
One way to find out.
That's right.
Well, anyways, where was I? We're on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes, and you'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. If you'd like to get early access to this show's episodes, as well as a bevy of other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network, check out our Patreon, also linked to in the show notes. It helps keep this show running week after week, and all our patrons are loved and appreciated. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making the show listenable for all you folks. And we'd like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That's it, everybody. On behalf of Dan and myself, keep playing games.